stop threatening and intimidating striking doctors. The Commission says doctors have a right to picket, demonstrate and protest as enshrined in the Constitution, and the government should instead provide them adequate security during the demonstrations. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has ordered former Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria and other county officials to present themselves at the EACC headquarters by 8 a.m. today. Now, they've been charged with procurement irregularities amounting to 140 million shillings. This follows EACC's investigations on tenders awarded by county between 2014 and 2016. EACC said it intended to charge Mwangi and 8 others with conspiracy to commit an offence, abuse of office, unlawful acquisition of property, conflict of interest, dealing with suspect property, and money laundering. This is EACC spokesperson Eric Ngumbi says that others who are expected before the Commission include Patrick Kagumo, Jane Wanjiro, David Maina, David Mama, Solomon Mutura, and Peter Muturi.
Those suspects, that is Mwangi wa Iria, his associates, the former county secretary, are currently at large. They are evading arrest. Therefore, EACC hereby directs all of them to report to the Commission at its headquarters located at Integrity Center in Nairobi. They are required to do so not later than 8 a.m. of Tuesday, 16 April 2024.
This is a developing story. We shall be bringing you the very latest in a subsequent news bulletin. Now, former National Museums of Kenya Director General Mzalendo Kibunja is in police custody after he was arrested by Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission detectives over the embezzlement of 490 million shillings. Kibunja was arrested alongside other National Museums of Kenya officials, among them Oliver Okinyi, an ICT officer, and Oscar Moura. Moura is said to have led the recruitment exercise of ghost workers who were paid this sum, which was later diverted into individual accounts. The embezzlement is said to have taken place for 5 years. And over 4,000 households have been displaced following relentless torrents of rain pounding most parts of the country. The Kenya Red Cross reports nearly 20,000 households affected by the deluge, living in devastation in its wake. Particularly hard-hit areas like Nairobi, where rising waters along the Ngong and Nairobi rivers have resulted in flash floods, wreaking havoc in communities of Kware, Kibra, Viwandani, Mukuru kwa Njenga, and Mukuru kwa Ruben in Tana River. The swelling river has caused panic among the residents, who have been cautioned to move to safer grounds before tragedy struck. The Red Cross reports a widespread impact, with 16 counties affected, 17,445 households impacted, and 4,639 households displaced. This as we continue to urge all Kenyans out there to be cautious, especially now that the rains are pounding hard. Now, a blogger was charged in a Shanzu court with obtaining money to remove an article claiming that 2 people defrauded Kilifi Governor Gideon Mungaro 150 million shillings. He pleaded not guilty to the charges before senior resident magistrate Robert Mbogo and was released on 100,000 shillings bond with a surety of the same amount and an alternative cash bail of 20,000 shillings. According to the investigations, Stephen Sanga Barawa approached the complainant Francis Ngala Karabu, posing as a local journalist, with a dossier alleging that the complainant conspired with one Lois McKenna to defraud the Kilifi County government of 150 million shillings through garbage collection. On a happy note, and Helen Obiri Monday evening successfully defended a Boston Marathon title after clocking 2 hours 22.37 seconds, leading Kenyan compatriots Sharon Lokedi and Ednah Kiplagat to a podium sweep. Now, Lokedi, who like Obiri is in Team Kenya's provision team for Paris Olympics, came home 8 seconds later ahead of 44-year-old Ednah Kiplagat. Obiri becomes the first woman to win back-to-back Boston Marathon titles since Catherine Dereba accomplished the milestone in 2005. We congratulate Obiri. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Asseto. Good morning.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
If a lion shows you its teeth, it doesn't mean it likes you.
It doesn't mean it likes you. It wants tax. A liar calls as witness one who is either dead or far away. Say it in
Below, Ninter, Yeninter, you Makati Kadikta. You know this character called liar. He has disturbed people. So when you tell him, who are your witnesses, he will take you to a place where it is difficult to verify.
For someone like me who sweats a lot, I cannot survive that. Sweating is biblical. Good. And he must blame it on Adam, not me. Because Adam messed up and he was told, no, you fellow, you, by the sweat of your brow, thou shalt eat. If you go out of this country and come back the same person, then you have a problem. Buy land, 1 million. Put it there for 5 years. What's the purpose?
It'll have increased in value.
No, that's the thing. That's darkness. That's an eclipse. You don't do that.
I hope you don't believe that a hustler is a poor person, or that all hustlers are poor. I've seen that conversation.
Tell us, who is a hustler?
Who's a hustler? Hustler is a person who is making a living through hard work.
Corruption in Kenya is a political accusation. The people who are actually corrupt are not pointed fingers at.
Kenya is not free. Kenya imeshikwa na mateka. It's under siege.
Have you seen that lodge on Nyeri Road? Very high fence. You can't even
windows
sleep inside.
Up near the ceiling.
Yes. And if you walk that midnight, you see bats the size of cows.
And when it rains, it doesn't rain on that building.
Yes.
When you're at All Saints and it's raining, it doesn't rain on that building.
The things people will believe.
Yeah.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Revenge is for children. It's for kids. When you grow up, you realize the best revenge you can take on somebody is to ignore them.
Now, I'm just new in politics. It is not everybody's cup of tea. That's why some people come in one term and that's it for them.
Political parties in this country do not have ideologies, whether luring or otherwise.
And that is the effect of corruption.
Any time an offense occurs anywhere in the country, it is the job of the Inspector General to look into it. Whether it's corruption, whether it's murder, whether it's petty, that is his job.
If we have chosen to be a corrupt nation, then we produce corrupt leaders. Everything then becomes chaotic that you cannot be able to change a nation.
The Situation
Good morning and welcome
Kenya's
to Tuesday, second day of the week, and let's see what's happening. So we've been told that rains are going to come down crazy over the next couple of days, so we're going to watch out for that. Over a week or so, we're probably going to see extended rainfall. And that means that there will be many, many places where water will be logged and that you should not go into. But if you look at the streets today, the Uhuru Highway is starting to pack up really early for this time of the morning. So something to watch out for. Also looking at traffic coming off the Thika Superhighway. Flowing free for now, nothing in terms of a clog up, so let's see as we get into the morning. Coming out of Westlands, you're all right. The Southern Bypass looks pretty good as well, and we'll see little or no traffic coming off the Eastern Bypass, at least for now. Let's talk through the morning. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not
How
down.
are you doing? Welcome to
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Wherever you are tuned in, asante sana for joining us. It's a bright and early morning. Well, it's not bright, it's not early, it's just one of those things. It's a morning here in Nairobi,
on this 16th day of April 2024. No.
Yes.
Otherwise.
Just give me, I needed to, settle down a little bit.
Yeah, just settle down. Don't worry.
How are you this morning? Good morning.
I like your hot dog look.
It took me a minute, but yeah, I'm there.
You're there? You got it?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Mustard and ketchup.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Hey. Unajisikia ka snack?
I've been told. Okay, never mind. Let's just keep it kosher. It's still 11 o'clock. I mean, it's still 6 o'clock. I've been told. Umesikia CT? Eric amesema najisikia a snack. Do you know what that means?
I don't think so. I know what a snack is.
You do?
Okay.
Baya.
That's where we've gone to it.
Tosha basi. Tosha basi. Tosha basi. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. And yourself?
I am well as well. Yes.
It is good to be well.
I am as well.
Man, it's cold, eh?
Bad though, CT.
No, in here it's fine. Out there it's cold.
Out there it's cold?
Yes.
Yeah, temperatures have dropped.
Or is it these unearthly hours that...
yeah, by 10 o'clock, if you were wearing a heavy jacket, you will wish you were not.
Okay. I'm waiting for that wish.
I'll be there to wave my wand.
And to tell me...
It may be raining at that 10 a.m.
This is true. According to the weatherman. Yes.
It could just be raining at any time. Makaa tu hivi umeangalia kidogo heavy rain. Like yesterday I experienced some heavy downpour. I'm on the road. I could see a heavy cloud and of course what looks like it's raining on some part. It's far away, like about 5 kilometers away.
So you thought.
So I'm just driving on the road. The rain is on the side. I get to this place, the showers start. In a minute, the rain...
downpour.
My friend, visibility down to like 2%.
Wow.
And wiper is struggling.
The wiper is like, it's trying to go really, really, really fast. The thing that I was lucky that there was a truck in front of me. So I could see the truck. I could just make out, this is the truck. So I just stuck there behind the truck. At least this one will show me where the road is. Because you can't see the road.
Bad.
Yeah, it was heavy. And you know what time it is? 4 p.m.
Wow. Yep. It's going to be like that, we are told.
Madness.
What exactly have we been told?
So this is... Okay, I'm still yet to understand...
It'll be raining at 4 p.m.
I'm still yet to understand what time is supposed to rain in Kenya. But these are short rains or long rains? I don't even know.
It's a long rain period.
Long rain period.
Yes.
However, it's going to extend. It shouldn't... it should be for about a month and a half and stave off towards mid-May. But what we're being told is that it's going to rain and we'll see its peak at the end of April, but it will carry on through the month of June.
Yep.
And then come June, voila, you're into the winter. So,
Heavy. In fact, the Kenya Red Cross has even issued an alert and said, well, we're already noticing water levels in Garissa are above 4 meters high on Tana River. So expect serious flooding. Tana River itself, people are already marooned. And as we had the Secretary General of the Kenya Red Cross telling us last week, that areas in Mount Kenya, the kind of rainfall that they're witnessing in Mount Kenya is seriously heavy. And that is what, of course, is feeding into the Tana River. So downstream chaos. But Mount Kenya itself also, landslide and fears of landslide and mudslides.
it's a real threat. Yeah.
Where?
The interesting thing is that they did tell us this in January. They told us in January that rains then would be quite heavy between April and June.
Yep.
They did.
Yep. It's crazy. The only thing that you'd wish for, Ahmed, is daily, hourly forecasts.
Broken down into...
Yeah, it tells you, like...
so we can understand.
At about 4:15 p.m., expect the rain to start. in Nairobi, if you are in this part of Nairobi. It's going to rain heavily. Areas south of the Rift Valley, north of the Limpopo.
In the lower leafy lands, highlands, lowlands, midlands.
Lowlands. Oh, you're going to have an above normal rainfall.
Then there'll be westerly winds.
Westerly winds over the wetlands. Not wetlands.
Like sasa hii imesema nini?
Sasa hapo ni wapi?
So kesho ni bebe mvuli ama nisibebe?
Kesho.
You do not know.
We kuja tu kazi.
We kuja tu job. Gashuri is saying even here in the UK it's raining heavily.
Yeah.
Even in the UK. Which UK, Bwana Gashuri? Is it United Kisumu?
Na huku kumenyesha baba.
Ukamba.
You know that normal flooding where you find houses, there's a threat that houses might get submerged.
Iko. Nyando plains have...
they've done their thing. And people already wading through almost knee-deep water. The problem with that is the diseases that will follow.
Oh, yeah. Hiya, let me tell you what we shall be discussing today. We want to look at the shilling. So the shilling has been gaining against the dollar. What's the latest? 120 what?
127 shillings
Hiya.
to the dollar.
Hiya. Dr. Alex Kamau is a business consultant and as an economist, he'll come and we'll discuss this. Is this a temporary thing? Is the shilling being supported, being propped up by some forces, or are these proper market dynamics that are making the shilling just drop from 160 to 127 like that? 7 a.m. At 8 o'clock, we talk about political parties. Calls to fold affiliate parties. Is KANU on the table or on the menu? Kidi Muga is a Secretary for Policy and Legislative Affairs of the KANU. He'll be joining us at 8 a.m. And then at 9 o'clock, let's talk about the civil servant salaries. So SRC's conference is beginning, when? Saturday, yesterday?
Yes. It's on, actually.
It's on, eh?
Yes, it is. In Kiambu, where? Yeah, somewhere over here.
Somewhere in Kiambu? Okay. So that one, now that it's happening, it's at, was it at Kenya School of Government? Oh, no, it was Safari Park. Nairobi Safari Club.
That's Kiambu.
Nairobi Safari Club.
No, that was a major briefing. The meeting itself, anyway,
somewhere over there.
Anyway, the meeting is discussing mambo ya mshahara ya wafanyikazi wa serikali. Arnold Ochieng is the general manager at Workforce Africa, push for upward review of civil servant salaries and wage bills. So there are those who, civil servants are saying we want a pay increase. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission is saying we need to rationalize this pay. We need to either cut back on the number of employees we have, raise our revenues, look at how we can halt pay rises so we can contain this wage bill. What gives? 19 minutes after 6. Mambo iko vipi? Tell us about your location, where you tuned in from on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll say hello to you shortly. But today when you say hi, do not forget, we have Queen Charlotte, who's there with Ednah. So say hello to Ednah, Queen Charlotte, Sweetie Muga, Okoh, Eric.
Sweet.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with
in some parts cloudy, another 16 degrees. We'll see highs of 25 and lows of 16. 16 and mostly clear in Nakuru with highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 26 and a partly cloudy Nyeri at 16. Eldoret is cloudy at 14, highs of 26, and looking into a clear Mombasa at 25, we'll see highs of 30. 31 will be the high in Malindi, where it's sunny at 25 already. It's 19 and clear in Kisumu with highs of 29, and looking into a partly cloudy Kakamega at 18, we'll see highs of 29 and lows of 17. Cloudy conditions at 21 in Kampala with highs of 28, and in Dar es Salaam this morning it's cloudy at 24 with highs of 29. Johannesburg is cloudy at 10 with highs of 20 and lows of 10, and looking into a partly sunny Mogadishu at 28, we'll see highs of 33. It's 15 and cloudy in Addis Ababa with highs of 26, and looking into a rainy Lagos at 29, we'll see highs of 33. It's cloudy at 24 in Kinshasa with highs of 33. Tuesday afternoon is sunny in Beijing at 23 with highs of 26 and lows of 11, and we're looking at a mostly cloudy Paris at 13 with highs, at 6 with highs of 13. London is cloudy at 9 with highs of 13. And Monday night is clear in New York at 15. Coming into Tuesday, we'll see highs of 27 and lows of 9.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
Eric Osoro says good morning from Kisii County, and tuned in is Abraham Lukorito, I beg your pardon. Winfred says good morning, tuned in as well, Wilfred. And Willie the Fortune is tuning from Roiro, looking forward to insightful discussions on this chilly morning. It is chilly, it's a duvet morning, is it not? Okay. People, we see you. You are many this morning. Salaam alaikum, says John Mwangi. Good morning to you. Good morning from Baltimore, Maryland, and happy Tuesday, Situation Room. Good morning to you and Karibu Sana. Good morning, Team Spice. I can see Kenyans have started to trust Zakayo's process to deliver. Is it? Okay, sawa. Jimmy Wekesa says good morning. Oganyi Malala says good morning, Team Spice. This is the only country where the sick can rough up protesting doctors. What an irony. Is that so? So George Gashoiri is tuned in this morning, says good morning to everybody. Into CT Ednah, Eric, Charlotte. Looking forward to a great show. Just arrived home after the graveyard shift. However, all is good and keeping well. That's fantastic. Joe Mungai is saying he's praying for the poor Kenyans who have patients in public hospitals. Indeed. The GOK is wrong. The medics are inhuman, but we shall overcome. Samuel Bakora says good morning. Watching from Malindi. Great town, that one. Embu was great. You came back with a trophy for the best mime in TTC's category. What were you doing, my man? Do tell. Robert Okoh is tuning from Mombasa, and Evans in Tabo says good morning, everybody. Good morning, Ndu City, Eric, Yego, Nyaboke, Mukopoa, be blessed, Asante Sana. Tibbs Muga is watching this morning, and he's asking, did you, Tibbs, he or she, do tell, did you guys watch the half marathon in Beijing? Now, let's see. Did we, while we were in Beijing, watch the half marathon? No. Or did we watch the half marathon that was taking place in Beijing?
No, I didn't watch either of those.
Two. Okay.
But I saw clips after the half marathon in Beijing.
Okay.
Where it's alleged.
It's alleged that...
that this two Kenyan and one Ethiopian runner deliberately stepped back to allow the Chinese runner
to win the race. So they cooked it.
No, probably they're being courteous.
Allegedly. Well, let's see.
See, I ran my race the way I want.
Yes.
Who says I have to keep going forward?
If I want to win, I win. If I don't want to win, I slow down.
If I want to slow down, it's my problem.
I could not agree with you more.
Are they not my legs? After all.
If I decide I'm not running and I start walking...
Is this your business?
What's your issue?
Did you say that the race must be finished in one day?
And where did it say that Kenyans must win the race?
Where did it say that if I am leading, I have to
finish and win?
As the leader.
And finish as the leader. Yeah. Why can't I come last? How do you know that my intention when I started this race was not to see if I could actually finish last? Okay. Pushing it. CT, where are you? I'm not the one asking. It's John. This one. Is there another CT you're looking for?
CT, where are you?
Well, it sounds cryptic. Because I can see myself here.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay.
I can see clearly now.
Nani mwingine endelea?
Am I okay? Says good morning. Zach okay says good morning. Tuned in on Spice on the road. Waiting with bated breath for another dose of informative sessions. Asante Sana. Edward Munil says good morning, Team Spice. Pan-African Nation says good morning from Nairobi. Mulu says good morning, team. Good morning, everybody. Miritiri Mombasa is locked. Dhati. What? Nyaboke is being given dhati. Zavati. There's another Kiswahili there that's difficult. Let me just go straight to the English. Let us spread love. Always remind your loved ones that you love them. I love you. Isaac Cheritich says good morning. Jeffrey Wafula says good morning as well. Brian Bakar is tuning from Gong Hills. Jaya Chiang says good morning. People are waking up really early today. Fantastic. Wilfred of Yambo says good morning. My country people looking forward to today's debate. Samuel Ondieki says good morning. Shiro says good morning all the way from Kimana. Allah. It's surprisingly foggy and chilly these sides. Not our usual weather.
Chilly and foggy.
Chilly and foggy.
Hey.
Okay, Sammy has decided that Eric needs to bring soup for CT every morning. The kind of soup shall be discussed at a later date.
Sour.
Okay? Peter Ray says, good morning and Agri, we see you. Supu, yeah? Supu, yeah? Yapweza. Okay, good morning everybody. Karibuni sana.
Karibu City.
Yes.
The proverb.
We are still in the Republic of Cape Verde. The dog's happy dream produces no meat.
The dog's happy dream produces no meat.
Sorry, no meat.
Wakes up to find Yani,
you dreamt and opened your mouth wide and taken a bite.
But nada.
You were biting your own foot.
Zero.
Biting your own leg.
Kabisa. I'm wondering why eating is so painful.
So you wake.
Surely. Hey. Hi, headlines, Basi.
Aye, Sawa. On the front page of the Standard today, united by fear factor. Okay. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula held a meeting to discuss government agenda. Oh, really? At a time, the two leaders are under political pressure. So, they said, hey, old chap, how about we have a cuppa? So that's what they did. Obiri rules the Boston Marathon. Helen Obiri wins the 128th Boston Marathon yesterday, while compatriot Sharon Lokedi and Ednah Kiplagat took second and third positions. Big sex trade in massage parlors. Where? Medics are planning weekly protests. So if you thought, what's that thing City normally says? If you thought we just something, now it's coming properly. Nigeria claims wanted crypto boss in Kenya. I think they spelled crypto wrong, because what's crypto? Okay.
It's a form of crypto.
It must be something.
It's a Nigerian version.
In a Kenyan headline. But okay. On the front page of the Daily Nation, why Atwoli is under siege. Combative veteran trade unionist Francis Atwoli is between a rock and a hard place, with things starting to align against him. From a new push to halt private guards, quota deductions, and a bill seeking to end his long career, to criticism over his lukewarm stance on workers' issues from an opposition he dumped after the 2022 election. My goodness, how many things can one man take? Wage bill, crisis, a push for a single payroll. A centralized payroll system for all public sector workers will help weed out wastage through irregular multiple payments to individuals and ghost workers, according to several state agencies. This is what they have proposed. Heavy rains wreak havoc. Unrelenting downpours continue to wreak havoc across the country, leaving a trail of death, displacement, and destruction of property. Looking at a few of the tickers there. Ambassador jobs. All eyes on MPs as they prepare the report. Many say that many who've been recommended for those positions may not actually get them. But okay, we'll see. Baboons. Yani? Baboon.
Nyani. Ongwer.
Onger.
Onger.
Hapana kuja. Anyway.
There's Onger and then there's Beam.
Beam is what?
Beam is a bamboo.
I think it's
Onger is a monkey.
Oh, Beam is chimpanzee.
Yes.
So yes. Onger can be baboon and monkey.
Yes.
Okay, so that's
primate.
Onger iko Nakuru.
Yeah.
In Nakuru's free area estate, where the urban landscape meets the untamed wilderness, human ambition clashes with nature's mischievous side. The mischievous sides are the what? Baboon. Allah. It's become even a story. It's a big deal. Allah. Money sent by Kenyans abroad up by 19% in the first quarter of the year. People are not sleeping, man. People who are out there working, sending money home. Yeah. That's what it looks like.
Sawa. Sasa mimi wacha nikuambie what's on the business daily. You've heard of carbon credits.
Yeah.
Right? People trading carbon. You hear those buzzwords. There's billions being made in this country of ours called
For
Kenya.
selling something you can't even see.
Because you have trees, you have skuma wiki in your backyards, you what, billions. Big firms buying Kenya's carbon credits revealed. Giant US companies top the list of global players snapping up deals in Kenya's nascent voluntary carbon market VCM, a new report by the World Bank shows these deals have resulted in billions of shillings in earnings for conservancy groups and communities. Records show that in 2022, Kenya was the second largest issuer of VCM carbon credits in Africa, only coming second to the DRC. Since 2011, more than 59 tons of carbon credits have been issued to projects in Kenya. You understand what I'm talking about?
No.
Yeah, all right.
No idea.
83% of which have been through voluntary markets that are dominated by nature-based projects.
So.
They even have a Kanini here. Records show that the deals in Kenya's VCM are dominated by top global corporates including Delta Airlines, Netflix, Nespresso, Air France KLM, Apple, BHP and Kering. Others are Nedbank, Shell, NatWest Bank, Zenlen. For instance, Delta Airlines in 2021, tukiwa tu hapa COVID, Delta, bought a combined 1,164 kilotons of carbon equivalent credits from Kenya and Uganda. Netflix and BHP took up 600 kilotons.
Sour, that's nice.
The ton thing I understand.
It's very nice. I understand tons and I understand boats.
How they got the tons?
How do you measure the tons?
How do you carry it?
How do you know?
You go with it.
What is it that
So what did Netflix now do when they bought these tons?
Yeah,
Netflix, for example, you're watching Netflix.
When you buy it, it means it existed, okay?
Yeah.
So where did it exist?
No, do you go with it?
And since they bought it, did they transport it out of
That's
the
what
country?
I'm asking. Then you kept it somewhere.
They bought the credits.
Netflix
okay?
now
The
made
buying thing I get, everything, but
So what they bought is credit. Credit.
hiyo yote bado nimeelewa.
Credit. Mwana
I've got
nchi,
it.
credit.
I've got it.
Credit. So the credit, now they go Okoh, they say, I have a credit. I can therefore pollute the air.
You know you are not being
to a
useful.
certain amount.
Same.
I'm understanding now.
So Kenya,
I can pollute until this extent because of what I've bought. Koba
Yes.
Hakaba.
bah.
Okay, sorry. I just get into it.
You see?
Yeah.
I can see Delta.
That I can see planes.
Smoke. Netflix.
You know, maybe that somebody can buy to sell to somebody else. Sure, you get. Somebody can buy and sell to somebody else, even if I'm not going to use it. It's like those people who go and buy domain names. They don't necessarily want it, but somebody will want it in the future. Then you can sell at a higher price.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't get it. We'll get somebody. Anyway, there's an expert at the Ministry of Environment in Kenya who's really involved in this. Ednah, let's look for them. I'd actually sent out a message to the ministry to bring that person. This, we need like proper education.
It has to be understood because there are people who actually have land, and on their land they actually have forests.
Yes.
Okay? Now, I am told these forests are the ones who produce these credits.
Yes.
Okay?
This carbon.
So, yes, the carbon credits. So how does one convert the forest coverage that they have
into money.
into Kenya shillings? Yes.
It's a good question.
And what else can produce this credit beyond trees and shrubbery?
Can we start making it?
Yes.
As long as something that's growing. Cabbage. Yes, it's all vegetation. It's just that the amount of vegetation you have and the amount of carbon it's taking is the issue. If you have 1,000 acres of cabbage and somebody has 10 acres of trees, could be the same.
So what you're saying is 10 acres of trees equals 1,000 acres of cabbage.
Cabbage.
Yes.
Possible.
That's what you're saying. Let's bring an expert to explain this thing.
Hey, you don't like this one.
Yes, but not me like that.
Eric is winging this thing, Bana. I'm looking at him.
He said, let's bring an expert. This guy likes
No. I'm going to stick to things I know.
Out.
You know, you're looking at trees because you don't eat trees. Those ones can get you. But because you know you eat cabbage, you're thinking carbon, cabbage, managu, cabbage. And you can get carbon credits from managu.
Brenda.
Other headline, poultry farmers protest US push to open Kenyan market. There's foul, there's open.
There's what?
Even these guys are looking for carbon credit.
One day,
what's open?
the wind gonna blow, and Kenyan farmers are protesting about poultry open.
And Nyash will.
Well done.
Poultry producers have protested an alleged push by the US to have Kenya open up its market to finished agricultural products in the ongoing negotiations. So guys are like, where? The Poultry Breeders Association of Kenya, the lobby for breeders, hatchlets and meat processors, says the trade, let me just turn the page quickly, I finish this one. The Trade Department has failed to provide the draft texts of the US proposals. They are like, apparently there's something that's going on here that we don't like. Ticker headlines. Retail investors overtake parastatals in bond holdings. Now, this is an interesting one. Retail investors are those small. Retail investors hold a larger share of government debt than insurance firms and parastatals combined, cementing their status as the fastest growing class of domestic lenders to the state. Retail investors are me, you, one individual.
Yes.
Just this year alone, we have lent what? Over 400 billion shillings to the government of Kenya in the domestic market, just buying bonds and bills. All right? So who are these chaps? Who are
these retailers?
Yeah. Who are they?
That have this
who are
money
going and buying a bond? Yeah, they're just putting in hundreds of millions of shillings buying bonds.
That's some serious money.
Yeah.
And look at the interest, and look at what they've pushed the government to do. They've actually pushed the government and told the government, we are not lending you this thing if you're not giving us 18%.
Yes.
Who are these?
Because we know there are other people you're paying 18%.
Yes.
And they're not even Kenyans.
Why?
So as we want 18%.
Why? So that's another one. CBK targets green projects, cheats with new rules. The central bank has published draft rules to guide banks in classifying whether particular economic activities are environmentally sustainable or green, joining the global push to stamp out greenwashing. I'm telling you, Kenya, environment, green. Big
time.
Yeah. City is just sitting here. Seven Seas spared 610 million shillings tax in deal. Seven Seas Technologies will pay a lower 289 million shillings in taxes instead of 900 million shillings that KRA had claimed after the two parties reached an out-of-court agreement. KRA wanted $1 billion shillings out of Seven Seas Technologies. Wameongea hii mambo ni kuongea, si tukunywe chai, si we meet, si tuongea. It has come down to 289 million.
City always says there's nothing that cannot be solved by talking.
Ni kuongea.
Just let's come and reason together.
Yeah. City.
Yes.
The star, please.
Top right-hand corner in teal green, free copy of the Star and My Gov. That is the teal green announcement.
Okay.
Kenyans dare to hope as cost of living eases. Border operator, somebody or the other in Umoja Estate, is a happy man as he gives this writer a ride. Okay.
This writer a ride.
Yes, I'm not mixing my R's and D's. Okay. On the Kangundu Road in Nairobi's fast-paced Eastlands area. The 35-year-old father of three has been the trade for more than 7 years. He describes last year as the toughest since he went into the border business as fuel prices hit a historic high. So, we are being told this border rider is among the people who are beginning to feel what? Things are getting better. Economy heading in the right direction. This is according to one gentleman called Nyoro. President William Ruto's administration ran into trouble immediately after he took power in 2022, September. Cost of living hit the roof. It's still in the roof anyway. Bang in the middle of the paper. Better times. NSE named the world's best performing stock market in 2024. Okay. I really don't understand how these things work. So if they say it's best performing, I have no choice but to believe because I don't.
In 2024.
Yeah, which is this year. Really. Ruto tough choices start to bear fruit. Steady's appreciation of the shilling has cut Kenya's debt by at least 1 trillion shillings. This is a story on page 4 and 5. Okay? So according to the Star, things are beginning to ease. Things are beginning to look better.
Okay.
Mambo inabadilika.
Yes, according to the Star.
Mambo sasa yabadilika. Naona mambo yakibadilika. Wait, it's 20 minutes to the top of the hour, then you'll do another traffic.
Yeah, so
we just tell us the story.
So now, I want to tell you how these two chaps got together and had a cuppa and decided, you know what? We are friends in adversity. After all, the enemy of your enemy is my friend.
Okay.
Let's look at the intrigues, and it's called United by Fear Factor. And why is this important? Well, let me tell you in just a minute. Wetangula meets Gachagua amid pressure to wind up Ford Kenya. So remember that UDA, in wanting to be the super party, had decided that all these little okay, let me not call them little parties, all these other parties who had formed the coalition essentially would do what? They would fold and then make one super party.
Yes.
National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula last week met Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua amidst pressure from UDA to fold his Ford Kenya party. The two used the meeting, which came in the backdrop of emerging political rebellion christened Tawe movement in Western region, to discuss the unfolding political events. According to a source that confided in the Standard, the second and third in command constituted on the political happenings in the country, even as they discussed how to strengthen the relationship between the legislature and the executive. So one would think that this is what they were doing. But I prefer that, it's possible that other discussions were had. So, you look at number 2 and 3 in the country and think, okay, well, they're looking at how we can make things better. Okay. The story is now going, is it between the lines? Something like that. And then now saying, you know what? Both of these guys may be taking a hit. Wetangula in Western region taking a hit over and over again politically, and then also Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who is said to be out in the cold.
Yeah, he's taking
because
a
of
hit.
what's going. He's also taking a hit. So these two who are under siege come together and form.
But is Wetangula under siege?
Well, it's said that he takes a beating every time that he's met by the Western Front. So it is an opportunity for him to join a depleted power source with another depleted power source and raise the power profile. This is essentially what this story is saying.
The reason why Wetangula is in the position that is being alleged he is in is because his party is a party to reckon with.
It is.
Yes.
So it's a strength that he does have.
Yes, it's not one of these fly-by-night parties which are here today and gone tomorrow. It's been there for a while. So, are we saying that he's going to ditch this party and join this monolith called, what is it called?
UDA.
Yes.
They will form something. Remember, like the way the other parties collapsed and formed
Jubilee. And whatever URP.
TNA, URP, all the others, they came.
I think there's a realization that there's strength in the party that he still has. That it's a bargaining chip, or it's a bargaining tool that he possesses. Will he let it go at this stage, or will he be romanced a little bit more, and will he then get what he can out of it?
But even more importantly, will his people follow him?
Exactly.
If he decides to fold, will he carry with him the people who are in Fort Kenya?
Yeah.
Who's in Fort Kenya?
The people who are in Fort Kenya.
Who are these?
What?
Who are these people who are in
Fort Kenya? Is predominantly a Bukusu party.
Okay.
And it is their party.
Okay.
So, the question here is, when they fold, they will no longer have a party. Is that a position that they'll find tenable? That's really the question I'm asking.
So, are they in Fort Kenya, or are they allied or aligned to
Moses Wetangula?
Moses Wetangula? Because some could even argue that DAP-K was also formed by Bukusus.
Yes.
So it's also another Bukusu party.
Yes, it is. It is. You see, the test of this particular pudding is actually unfolding before us. That's why I'm raising the question. Should Wetangula decide, or should it be reported that they are folding up?
Yes.
Okay, what will that folding up mean? Will it suddenly strengthen DAP-K? Will people decide, hapana? Sisi wewe Wetangula kutaka kwenda wewe kwenda tu, okay. But sisi tuko hapa. There's something about, it's like saying, for instance, this Azimio coalition take the view that, let's say, Raila told, why don't you fold ODM, okay, so that we can form this big Azimio thing. Okay, I'm giving that as an example because the principle is the same.
Yeah.
People enjoy the power they have within the parties.
Within where they are.
Yes.
If Raila said we are folding Azimio and calling it something else, people will move.
Precisely.
To have done that because it's him. It's not ODM. It's Raila.
Yes. So I'm asking the question of Ford Kenya. Is that what will happen?
Is Ford Kenya Wetangula?
Yes.
That is it.
That's the question I'm asking.
They go with him.
Yes. Will they go with him, or will it begin? Will it be an increase in the power that he wields, or will it be the beginning of the decline of the power that he has had in that particular region? Yes. And also, in this country, we have a history. Whenever people have folded parties and joined others, what has happened? What has happened?
When they folded parties and joined others?
I mean, it's a roller coaster, okay?
But more importantly, they've lost their potency.
Yes, exactly.
The people still retain, they still remain. Only if you're in a smaller issue, a smaller unit. So, for example, Uhuru did not fold KANU. He walked out of KANU and went into TNA, then into Jubilee.
Yes, he did.
Uhuru maintained his potency.
Yes, he did.
True not. Raila from LDP into ODM,
to NDP,
or NDP into KANU, into LDP into ODM.
Yes.
Kalonzo from ODM into IPA.
ODM Kenya.
No, actually LDP into ODM Kenya, which is now IPA. Shem. Mwai Kibaki from DP to NAC to PNU. Now it depends now. Who are you?
Precisely. Now this is...
what were you before?
You know, there are parties that joined both coalitions. Unless someone tells you about them, you likely not know they exist. All right? So even when they fold...
So what?
Precisely.
Then...
And see, these parties form part of the identity of the people who are behind it.
Yeah.
So essentially folding, you're simply saying, are you going to merge your identity or are you going to lose your identity? And are you willing to do that?
Are you willing to lose your identity? Sasa, we saw the interviews for the nominees to various ambassadorial positions taking place, and now that committee is preparing its report. All eyes are on Parliament this week as it prepares a report to President Ruto's ambassadorial nominees. The National Assembly's Defense and Foreign Relations or Foreign Affairs Committee retreated to a Nairobi hotel to write its report on the suitability of its nominees. The EACC has flagged 3 of those 27 nominees for outstanding integrity concerns. They raised integrity concerns about former Kisii Deputy Governor Joas Maangi, who's been nominated to go to Uganda, former Turkana County Assembly Speaker Ekitela Erastus Lokale, who's been nominated permanent representative to the UN in New York, and former Baringo County Assembly Speaker David Kiplagat Kirich, who's been sent to Washington, D.C. Maangi, EACC says he's mentioned in an ongoing investigation into a multi-million housing project by the National Housing Corporation involving a company linked to him. A recommendation has been made to the DPP to charge Joash Maangi and others in a matter relating to the NHC housing project. Maangi, however, told MPs during questioning that he was innocent. Lokale, on his part, EACC told MPs that he has been named in an investigation into the misappropriation of mortgage funds in Turkana County, while Kirich is facing charges over skewed recruitment in Baringo during his tenure. How about they have issues?
Since when has that stopped people from actually vying for positions?
Now we will be waiting to see what actually will the committee say. Yeah, but you see, this person has not gone through due process until they have exhausted all avenues of appeal. First of all, they have not been charged. Just because you're investigating me doesn't mean that I'm guilty. Even if you go and take me to court and charge me, it doesn't mean that I'm guilty. Okay, so we cannot say that we cannot give you a job because EACC has said By the way, we have opened a file on him.
All right. So what happens? You're given the job, and then the court finds you guilty. What do we do?
So we are going to replace you.
When has that happened?
Really?
When has someone been found guilty?
I think the question pops up for a long.
We have a certain member of parliament who was found guilty, and it's argued that the thing is still in appeal. But the previous sentence still holds.
The people of his constituency gave Mark the job.
The people of his constituency may have given him the job. These are two separate issues. I'm sure he has qualities that his people like, but there was this little matter that took him to court. Okay? And the judges did find that he had something to answer for, and that's why they found him guilty. See, two separate things.
True.
That is being elected. I am certain he makes a very good MP for his people. They like him. But this is a different matter. Okay? The matter of which he is accused didn't vote. Okay? He happened to have done something that was found to be in contravention to the law.
He had his hand in the cookie jar.
That is really...
He actually took the cookie jar and wore it on his head.
It's not a complicated issue. See?
The question then would arise that should you have a blanket caveat kind of that should your name be mentioned, should you come up in any kind of investigation that leans towards these, look, anything, and if you've then been nominated or you put yourself up for a position, state or public, should you then be considered? Should we just say no? Figure that out first. Let those things be dropped, whatever it may be, and then you can then be free to. Should it be blanket that if you have a case in court, you have this thing being brought against you, you should not actually then be allowed to run for public or state position. It's a conversation that it's making the chatter rounds currently.
Yep.
Should there be a blanket thing? It doesn't matter. There should be a whiff of anything. We're going to say, well, okay, for these positions, hang on a minute, let's figure them out. Let other people be nominated or then put themselves up for those positions.
This merry-go-round that we are now involved in with regards to Chapter 6, we have the Uhuru government to thank for this, because it's during the tenure that chapter was completely watered down to the point where you actually wonder whether it's of any use.
Yeah. So, Macharia Kaido, in his article today in the Daily Nation, is talking about the same thing. He says a bunch of incompetents will be cleared to head our diplomatic missions, but that's nothing new. He says, let me read a couple of paragraphs from this. President William Ruto is a good and decent man, according to those who have interacted with him closely over the years. He is kind, loyal, generous to his friends, always inquiring as to their welfare and the well-being of their families, and always ready to extend a helping hand to those in need. I can vouch for that. He also does not forget those who helped him rise to the top. Like all previous Kenyan presidents, Dr. Ruto reserved a generous share of public appointments for his friends, relatives, and political allies. He had made certain commitments during the electioneering period, and is a man of his word. Indeed, close associates say that is one of the major distinctions between him and Uhuru. He does not forget or abandon the friends and allies who contributed to his electoral success. Therein lies the big problem. For he is loyal and generous to a fault, we have in recent days been subjected to farcical scenes of President Ruto's nominees to strategic public offices having their limitations crucially exposed. Just last week, parliamentary vetting of ambassadorial nominations laid bare a large crop who should not pass the muster even for clerical jobs. But then, they will... It starts with the president nominated somebody who has zero diplomatic experience.
Yeah, I mean,
to go to a crucial sitting, like, for example, Washington, USA. Somebody who has zero diplomatic experience to be our ambassador in this country called the DRC, where the president, even during his campaign, was like, if we get DRC into the EAC, DRC gets into EAC, we have an open, huge market.
Golden.
Kuusa tu masuwa peke yake. Masuwa peke yake. It's enough.
And now you send a guy.
And now you're sending a guy anauzanga mafuta. Yeah, kazi yake anauza mafuta.
And he's even admitted to you that I have no diplomatic experience. He can't spell multilateral.
Yeah.
GDP ni population.
Can't spell GDP.
Yes.
Come on.
Actually, I do not see where the problem is.
Anaweza uza mafuta, anaweza uza maziwa.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Why do you think they call political appointees?
Hey.
That's the qualification. By the way, we didn't invent this. There's a guy who came to this country called Hempson Smith. The guy was a journalist. Okay? diplomatic
experience.
Okay.
Nada. But he served his purpose very well.
But he had something, CT. We can't deny the fact that he had
Even this guy has something.
For crying out loud, CT.
So he's going there to help the civil society.
Yes.
Of DRC.
Yes. Yes. Come on.
I know what you're doing, and I'm just going to let you do it.
No, I'm for this guy.
Of
So
course you
what
are.
if he can't spell multilateral? Even I can't spell multilateral.
Can you spell GDP?
Yes, G, D, and P. Or you think it's J-E-E-B-E-E?
He probably does. This is my problem.
P-E-E.
Oh my goodness.
Because he's being sent to Goma.
Yes.
He was asked about GDP. He was like, it's a Goma population.
Yes, hapa. Kwanza GDP.
GDP is Goma.
Na
Democratic
GDP huko ni mzuri
population.
sana, first of all. Ukienda Goma ndio utakutana na GDP mzuri.
You know, we're laughing, but it's actually pathetic.
No, me personally, I do not have a problem.
Of course you don't.
What do they produce in the DRC? Gold. Gold, diamond,
they grow gold.
population.
You're still there. They grow gold.
They grow gold and diamonds.
And people.
And
Okay,
people.
so, wow.
And we can sell them masiwa.
Mingi. You know something, huh?
Can you imagine? Sorry. I'm sorry. But the situation rooms, like, because that's what they are, diplomatic corps. Folks are like at Unga, New York, are just waiting and saying, okay, who's coming?
Brother so and so.
And they're also watching the proceedings and they're thinking, wow, okay, this should be fun.
You guys are placing too much stock. Half the people who we have in our diplomatic mission, do we even know who they are?
No.
And of these people, how many of them actually are career diplomats?
Not many.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Now,
we were having, sorry, CT, we were having a conversation last week and we're like, there are very many within MOFA today who've risen through the ranks, who've worked there easily 10, 12, 13 years, who have gathered quite some experience in diplomatic relations.
Yes.
Media attaches, first and second attaches, etc., etc. Who could be considered for some of these things.
Yes.
I know you're just acquiescing.
No, I'm agreeing they can be considered, but who says brother who is having difficulty with GDP, or who says that brother cannot get the job? Let the brother get the job.
Sindio, eh?
She's a Kenyan.
Okay, Sawa. On that, by the way, that last thing you've said, no problem. But the other thing.
And anyway, if he doesn't know, see, now he will know when he gets there.
Oh my God.
See, there's learning on the job. Have you guys not heard of such things?
People learn on this. Yes, it's true.
It's true.
But this thing, I do not see what the fuss is all about.
Nisawa. That's the thing about an opinion, that you can change it.
We interviewed a doctor here the other day, and this doctor has actually served in Kenya's diplomatic postings and is now an experienced diplomat.
Yes.
She's a doctor. Dr. Ojiambo.
Yes.
It's
Dr.
possible.
Josephine Ojiambo.
Yes.
Akaingia siasa. She was here doing politics, governance issues, siasa. Got sent to New York.
And said, I can do this thing, man.
Yeah. Was learned on the job, diplomacy. She's good.
It's true, I agree with you.
How come we don't kick a fuss when you have former military generals and so forth being appointed ambassadors? What experience do they have in diplomatic thingamajigs?
They have studied some bit of diplomacy.
Okay, they've studied a bit of diplomacy.
Up at NDC, among the things is,
yes,
thinking about war and avoiding war.
Actually, Eric, you do have a point. By the time you become a general, you've undergone
You've been through the
great
ringers.
training.
Yes.
But they do not have that background in diplomacy.
But at the very least, CT, you've gotten a whiff of... It's not petrol.
Aujua mtu kwa pump ya petrol station.
No.
News time.
Let brother go to DRC
and bring us gold.
And get the whiff there.
7 a.m.
The news at the top of the hour on Vibes Radio.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. The Law Society of Kenya has vowed to take legal action against the government within an unspecified time frame of its handling of the nationwide strike by doctors and clinicians. LSK vowed to take the Ministry of Health to court while responding to a directive by Inspector General of Police Javed Koome calling for firm action against the illegal strike. LSK denounced Kome's directive ordering firm action on medical professionals on strike after he termed their protest a nuisance. The Law Society termed Kome's remarks as reckless, irrational and legally impotent. Legislators have stated that lack of details in admission letters caused hundreds of qualified students admission to universities in 2023. The National Assembly Committee on Education wants more details, namely what parents must pay in admission letters before they report in September. Committee Chair Julius Meli said the Ministry of Education changed the funding model for universities in 2023, and by the time students reported, many had not understood what the changes meant. According to the new funding model, a student would receive scholarships, bursaries and loans from the government depending on their need after categorization. Then they would pay a percentage of the total fees. Meli said in 2023, students reported for admission without knowing how much the government was going to pay in scholarships. Still on matters education, and the Kenya Union Post-Primary Education Teachers has decried the delayed appointment of teacher pension scheme trustees. Corporate Secretary General Akilo Misori called on the Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njuguna Ndung'u to gazette the Public Service Superannuation Scheme nominees. Misori had expressed the need for urgent action because close to 115 billion shillings of pensioners' savings. White Race Coopet noted the union had the representatives on the Board of Trustees for 3 months, despite sending a list of its nominees to CS Ndung'u as required by law in January. And the Private Security Regulatory Authority has instructed all private security firms to immediately terminate deductions and remittances of security guards' monthly trade union fees and contributions to the Central Organization of Trade Unions. The authority's Chief Executive Officer Fazil Mohammed highlighted in a statement what he described as court's negligence of the rights of private security guards despite their continued payment of union dues. Mohammed noted that the private sector has been a major contributor to COTU, but the union has failed its membership. He said the agency had confirmed that the private officers had made substantial contributions to the union in monthly trade union dues running into billions. Mohammed has further forewarned private companies that will not adhere to the directive of consequences. Now, Kenya Power has announced a 13.7% drop in electricity bills starting from May, providing much needed relief to consumers grappling with the high cost of living. The announcement follows a reduction in fuel prices by up to 10 shillings as set by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority the previous day after months of soaring prices. Now, according to Dr. Fred Sigor, the Managing Director of Kenya Power, this reduction in electricity prices is attributed to the strengthening of the Kenyan shilling and a decrease in the cost of fuel used to generating electricity. Expressed satisfaction with the relief this reduction would bring to consumers, expressing optimism that the improved macroeconomic environment and enhanced hydrology would sustain these benefits. Now, the Ministry of Health, through the State Department of Public Health and Professional Standards, has made significant strides in addressing malnutrition. The progress was acknowledged during the recent 14th Task Force meeting on food and nutrition development. Notably, the prevalence of stunting among children under 5 has decreased from 26% to 18% between 2014 and 2022, according to the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey. Mary Muthoni, Principal Secretary for the department, emphasized Kenya's strategic alignment with the Africa Agenda 2063 and underscored the importance of comprehensive malnutrition interventions. Now, indiscriminate attacks against civilians in Sudan could constitute war crimes and crimes against humanity, according to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, 1 year since fighting erupted between rival generals. He also reiterated his concerns about reports of escalating unrest in El Fasher in Darfur, a western region that is home to a quarter of Sudan's 48 million people and had the past scene of horrific violence, with reports of mass ethnic-based killings. El Fasher in North Darfur State is the last state capital not under the control of paramilitary rapid support forces who are battling Sudan's army. It's also a major regional hub for humanitarian aid. This is News. I'm Dennis Asata. Good morning.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
Good morning. Few minutes after 7 o'clock. What does it look like on the streets this morning? Let's take a quick look, shall we? All right. Coming off the Thika Superhighway, there's traffic as you get towards Survey. Bumper to what? Bumper. Just past Survey. Beyond that, we're seeing a little bit of traffic as you come off of that GSU headquarters, coming to the Outer Ring Junction, and then down into the city. Kiambu Road, a little bit of it as you're coming in from that DCI out past then as you approach Muthaiga Square. So there's a little bit of a hold up there, but nothing too scary for now, so you're all right. First, second, third, Parklands Avenue, then coming on to Limuru Road, there's some traffic there as well, and you'll see a bumper-to-bumper situation in some parts. Uhuru Highway is also starting to get pretty busy as you get towards Haile Selassie, coming in from the Nyayo Stadium Junction, roundabout, all of those things. Yes, busy on Jogo Road as you get towards the roundabout. Some of you will go towards Lusaka Road. The rest of you will go then towards Landis, where there's bumper-to-bumper traffic as you then get to Kamkunji. The Southern Bypass, she's looking good. You might want to use that to get into the city if you're not interested in looking at traffic on Uhuru Highway. Let's see what happens as we get into traffic hour. We'll talk on Spice FM, KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
How are you doing? Welcome to Tuesday. If you're just joining us, this is Kenya's biggest conversation. The Situation Room is live every weekday morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on SpiceFM, on KTN Home, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Radio Garden, on other digital platforms, on X, everywhere. And you can catch up with this conversation at any point. Those who are watching it live now are okay. Then you can catch up with the conversation later if you miss any bit of it. Later you can play back. Just go to YouTube or Facebook and you play it back. Sawa, mambo iko namna hiyo. Whatever you plan to do today, think of it as, an investment already in itself of time. And I see a Lion are saying, you know what, don't just have plans, and you don't actualize them. It'll make your plans move from plan to reality. Get them off your head and into your car. Mm-hmm. Get all my dreams into my car.
Okay.
Okay? I see a lion.
Well done.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get onto the website plan.icealion.co.ke, or you can send an email plan@icealion.co.ke. What is it that you want to do? There's a myriad of things that you think in your head. Okay, how I wish I could do 1, 2, 3 by the time I got to this age, or by the time I've reached this. This is what I want to have done. Well, if you're not quite sure how to go about it, the good folks down at ICA will help you do this if you just have a conversation with them. Say, this is what I want to do. That's yours. They'll say, this is the plan. That's theirs. It'll come together and it'll be reality.
Kabisa, sindio? Yes. Now, what's the plan in terms of the currency? The plan was to contain this meteoric fall of the currency. Meteoric fall of the currency. And it had what? It had gone to what?
162 shillings.
To the USD.
Yes, sir.
Guy. And then we went to the market. We did this thing called the Euro bond. Kidogo, we started saying, hiya, coming down.
The next thing, literally.
Down. What's the latest?
127.
This is the CBK rate. As of yesterday.
Let's go to CBK for yesterday. US dollar.
Top.
Where?
Do you go?
Where?
How are you on Yoko? Si ndio unaiona ya kwanza.
Kwanza ni Hong Kong US dollar. No, this is from I don't even know when this is. For and it cannot be.
Buying at 157, selling 157, mean 150. Which date is that?
It says.
That's the 1st of April.
Yeah, so 1st of January.
Surely.
That's the 1st of January. So let's look at the 16th of April.
Go to 15th.
US dollar. Who cares?
Go to 15th. At least show us yesterday. 15 years. Not to enjoy bana. Anyway,
okay.
The guy who knows this thing spends his time in the markets and advising people on where to put their money is our next guest. Okay? His name is Alex Kamau. He's a business consultant. He's here. He's been here many times before. Alex, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you, Eric.
You're well?
Yes, I'm well.
Very good. Just tell us, yesterday, how much was it going for? CBK rate?
CBK rate 131 against US dollar.
131 to the D, to the dollar?
Yes, to the dollar.
Why? Hey. And this is coming from a high of? Or a low of?
Yes, from a high of about 160 shillings per dollar. Per dollar.
Yeah, there it is. US dollar CBK rate 130.4.
That
was as of yesterday.
Yeah. The pound 162. Euro 138. Siki, siti unaonaje maneno?
These things confuse me.
Completely. Very good. That's why Alex is here.
Yes.
Alex, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much.
At least City is not confused when he goes to Cape Verde and mines proverbs and brings them.
No.
And for example, he will not be confused when he tells us the system of government in Cape Verde is semi-presidential, autonomous,
unitary, semi-presidential republic. Just that you understand.
Unitary, semi-presidential republic. What does that mean?
Well, one unitary means they're united, just so that you understand.
Semi is half. And the presidential is president.
The way this thing works, many countries have a vice president, then some have a prime minister, then you mention. These fellows have a president, prime minister, done, dusted. Story meisha hapo.
No parliament.
Parliament iko.
Okay.
Parliament iko. But you see, the prime minister, it's like they have what you may call a parliamentary and a presidential system all combined into one.
It's a thing BBI was trying to give us.
Yes, it's because the prime minister does have power. Okay.
And the president is elected.
Yes, and the president also does have power.
Right.
So that's why they call it what they call it.
BBI. This is where these guys are gone. I can see Paul Mwangi. We'll ask him. Did you study Cape Verde? Or did you write the Cape Verde Constitution, Paul Mwangi?
And by the way, talking of currencies and the yo-yoing of the shilling against the dollar, their currency is called a Cape Verdean escudo. That's their shilling. The shilling is called an escudo.
Escudo.
Yes.
Okay.
Their shilling is called an escudo?
Yes. Okay, so their dollar is called an escudo.
Okay.
The proverb.
Okay.
The dog's happy dream produces no meat.
The dog's happy dream produces no meat. Alex, what's your interpretation?
The dog's happy dream produces no meat. It means that faith without action is dead. That no matter how much you believe in the happening of something, dreams don't work themselves. You have to work the dream for it to work.
Very good. This proverb of today might as well have been sponsored by ICEA Lion.
Yes.
Plan, bila action. Bure.
Activate your plan.
Activate your plan. Okay. So, the shilling is behaving like that.
Yes.
The market is behaving the way it's behaving. We saw the headline again, one of the headlines in the papers yesterday was talking about the rates.
Yes.
Okay. And the lending rates to the government. Today's headline is talking retail investors overtake parastatals and insurance companies in buying government paper. That's T-bills and bonds. So retail investors were saying it's CT, me, and Do, and now Alex. Of course, now you're an institution. You know, big time.
Yes.
But also yesterday there was the issue of the latest T-bill and the rates and the way they've dropped. They've dropped to the lowest they've been during how many years? And this is also having another impact there. So what is that's happening with our, with our currency, and then we'll come into our market.
Okay.
Why is the shilling dropping or gaining? Why is the shilling gaining?
Yes, the reason the shilling is gaining is because there are three uses to money. One is speculative. We have precautionary and transactionary. The reason the shilling is gaining this time around is because of the first one, the speculative use of money. That there are some people, investors, who hold money, waiting for a good opportunity for them to buy things when they are cheap. In this case, investors had hoarded dollars, waiting for the Kenyan government when it would be going to the market to buy dollars so that we can repay the 2 billion US Eurobond. Though that did not happen, because instead of the Kenyan government sourcing for dollars internally, they went externally. So the people who had hoarded money in the name of speculating, they had to release the money into the market. And currently we have the quantity of dollar or supply of the dollar in the market. It is quite high. So, and that's the reason, because of the forces of demand and supply, the supply is high and the demand is not high. That's why the dollar has received a beating by the Kenyan currency. This situation is supposed to be very temporary, is because as time goes by, Kenya is a net importer. So the stock that we have for dollars, we will continue to use, and with time we will deplete it. And once we deplete it, we go back to square one. And actually, also, by the time we are going to June 2024, when we will be repaying the 2 billion USD Eurobond, the money will vanish. These dollars that we have will vanish. We could be having it somewhere, and it is giving us a false hope that it is money we have for good. But it's money that the countdown has started the time has started to tick. It's only a matter of time we give out that money.
Okay,
I don't get it.
Hang on a minute. I'm sorry. So what? It sounds as though you're saying that this miraculous thing that has happened over the last 1.5 months, whereby the dollar has done the shilling has done the thing. So now we're looking at 130.
Yes.
That it's artificial.
It is artificial.
How can that be artificial? Because what you're insinuating here is that, so it would look as though there's a lot of dollars in the market. That's why the shilling then has gained on it.
Yes.
But that is not the case, and that it's only temporary. What would make those two things happen? Artificial and temporary. Why?
I would say it is artificial because these dollars that we have not earned those dollars. Actually, we have borrowed. If you would say it is the productivity of our economy that has increased, and we are doing more exports, that by doing more exports we are getting more foreign currency, then we would say it is sustainable. But this time around, it's money that we have borrowed in terms of Eurobond, and it's only a matter of time that we give out that money. But as any other person, it's called behavioral science or behavioral finance, because we have some money somewhere, some dollars somewhere, it is giving us this false perception that we are safe. But it's only a matter of time. By June 2024, we release the money, and then the panic is likely to hit the market.
Who is releasing the money in June?
In June, as we pay the maiden Eurobond that we procured in the year 2024.
I thought we've already paid 1.5 of it.
And
the other 500 we've been paying dog.
I wouldn't say we have paid, because the due date to pay is 24th June. There was some allegations that we might decide to buy it back before the due date. but to the best of my knowledge is that we are waiting for the due date to repay. And actually, there would be no good reason for us to repay early, because this money that we have, we can still invest it for a month and get some good returns on it.
But let me ask this question.
Yes.
Beyond the reasons that you've given,
yes,
could there be any other reasons why it is the shilling seems to have resurrected and has gained strength against the dollar?
Absolutely no any other reason, because the main reason, the one that we would say it is something positive, is if we have increased our productivity, because we have not seen the GDP of Kenya rise skyrocket within a month. We have not seen the fundamentals of the country change within this period of time. The only factor that is new is the issue of the Eurobond. That's the only factor that has triggered what we are seeing. And when we ask why also the Kenyan shilling has gained against Uganda, is because now, because the Kenyan shilling has gained against US dollar, Ugandans, instead of buying US dollars directly using exchanging Ugandan shillings to dollar, they decide first to buy Kenya shillings, convert Ugandan shillings to Kenya shillings, then they procure the US dollar. Because currently the Kenyan shilling is procuring more dollars than we were doing before. So they would, any other rational, reasonable investor would avoid converting Ugandan shillings directly to the dollar. You first convert to Kenya shillings, then using Kenya shillings, you buy more dollars.
So essentially, because of this, then the demand for the Kenya shilling in some sectors has grown.
And that is very artificial, because the way now the Kenyan shilling is gaining against the Ugandan shilling is not because we are doing more trade. It's not because we are importing more goods and services to Uganda. It's only because they are using our currency to procure the dollar.
Let me perhaps segue a little bit and give reason as to why I asked the question.
Yes.
If, let's say, for instance, let's take this hypothetical situation where it seems it would appear apparent that we may actually default on the Eurobond. What would that do with regards to the confidence of lending institutions, the global lending institutions, and the partners who we trade with?
In the event that
there is a likelihood that we are going to default.
Yes. Our credit rating would have received a beating.
Precisely. And then what would that do to the shilling?
That would weaken the shilling.
Okay.
Yes.
So are we saying that the current situation that we are in, such a threat does not exist?
It does not exist.
Why?
Because we have already gone to the market, and the market has been very generous to us and has given us money, both locally and internationally.
How is that a good thing? Because if we've borrowed more, and we've borrowed in dollar, and we are paying in dollars, and as you say, the situation we're in now is artificial. So the time when we'll be required to pay, the artificial situation that we're in will have disappeared, and we'll have gone back to what one may refer to as the factory settings of the shilling having done a belly up, isn't it? So how exactly will we have benefited from this whole thing? Because it's like we've jumped from the fire. Is it the frying pan into the fire?
Exactly.
Yes.
Tumekunywa tu nini paracetamol.
Yes.
The headache.
Now,
brain surgery is still needed. So, is it possible then for some of the things that we are seeing, if you're talking about the current situation being founded on in artificial nature, really, because we borrowed money to pay off this loan, right? Part of it at least. And then suddenly you have all this money in the market. But this money is borrowed money. It's institutions who put in this money in order for you to then be clean on that, on the record book. So far, correct?
Yes.
However, we are seeing resultant effects of that money. For example, what we're being told, fuel prices have come down for the 5th month in a row, can be attributed to now the gains that the Kenya shilling has made.
That's true.
As a result of that, we will see, the cost of things actually then coming down, because the cost of fuel also will come down, right?
Yes.
Can you say that these gains that are being made then can still be done on a foundation of an artificial nature?
Yes.
Can that happen? Because these in some way will be long term.
Yes. The issue of the fuel coming down and some prices of goods coming down, because basically we have seen inflation come down from a high of about 9% to about 6% as we speak. Inflation has come down, so meaning the prices of goods are coming down. There are two things. There are two things to that, and one which is a bit to the negative is because there is no money in circulation. There is no money in circulation. So what is happening? Producers, once they produce their goods and services, they are not able to get good demand for their goods and services. So what happens? They decide now to lower prices. Again, the issue of forces of supply and demand. Right now, people and generally in the economy, everyone is crying, there is no money, there is no money.
What does that mean when you say there is no money in circulation?
Yeah. But the
reason why the Kenya shilling hapana, sina 100. Last week nilikuwa na 100, leo sina 100. It's because you're broke. It's not that.
Yes.
So when you say there is no...
Where's the money gone?
Or there is a reduction.
Yes.
If there is a reduction in the circulation of money...
Yes.
Is this some garden variety reduction, or is it one of these hair-raising reductions where we should actually tremble and fear in trepidation as we consider a terrible outcome? Because if there is money and we say it's not in circulation, so where has the money gone?
Yeah. It's a good question. It's a deliberate effort by the government. Number one, the government, through the fiscal policies that it has come up with, it has increased the interest. It has increased taxes. It has increased taxes. For instance, we saw the high tax band for pay as you earn move from 30% to 35%. And as much as people would think that that 5% tax band applies to people who are earning above 800,000,
percentage of people.
Not really. What actually happens if you are a second employer somewhere? If you are a second employer somewhere, if you are a secondary employee somewhere, like myself, I teach in various universities. So every other university that I teach as a part-time, I'm considered a secondary employee. If I'm earning 100,000 there, for instance, I'm deducted that 5% because I'm a secondary employee. Secondary employees, anywhere, they are deducted pay as you earn using the highest tax band.
Oh, very crucial.
Yes.
So it's not only for those who are earning above 800,000.
No.
It's also to anybody who is a secondary employee.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So it's more people who've been hit by that 35%.
Very many people. Very many people.
So we've also seen the introduction of the housing levy.
Yes, the housing
1.5%.
Yes.
We're coming into health.
Yes.
So basically, more and more money is getting out of your income.
NSSF at 6%.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, the purchasing power of Kenyans has been highly reduced. Highly reduced. So that's number one. Number two is the issue of government spending. The government has actually reduced its spending, and the economy grows when the government spends money.
Doctor, you have to explain, what do you mean the government has reduced its spending? Is it that we've cut our budget? Is it that we are no longer spending what we used to spend within the various ministries? What is it?
That's true. Like now, the budget that we are looking forward to be read in the by June this year, we are looking forward at a budget of a proposed budget of 4.2 trillion. Out of that 4.2 trillion, 1.2 trillion will go towards repaying the debts. 1.2. So we are left with 3 trillion. Out of the 3 trillion, 2.3 trillion will go towards recurrent expenditure. So paying the salaries and paying maintenance of various assets of the government. It's only about 800 billion that will be used to do the infrastructure development expenditure. So whenever the government reduces the amount that it spends in development expenditure, building dams, building bridges, building all that, then, and it is using more money to repay the debts, 1.2 trillion out of the country.
But Daktari, this 4 trillion is aspirational. It doesn't exist.
Yes.
We know how much we collect.
That's true.
It's just about 2.
Yes. So this phantom 2 point something that we're talking about actually doesn't exist. So we're going to be spending money we don't have.
We have always done that for the longest. We have even the budget that we read, the one that is operational, 2023 to 2024.
Yeah.
Same story.
So basically, if you're still fulizing, but then you've reduced on
the amount,
the cultural establishment that you're going to. You fuliza, but then instead of going every evening, you only go once a week. Now that bar will have to close. Okay, so no, sorry, not bar. That
cultural establishment.
That's the impact you're having.
Yes.
So according to the people who work in that establishment, there is less money in circulation. But let's take a break. Hakuna pesa. Excuse me, hakuna customer. 28 minutes to 8. Our guest this morning is Dr. Alex Kamau. Dr. Kamau is a business consultant. He understands several things about money and about the economy. He's here today. We are asking. So we are seeing the shilling gaining. As of yesterday, 130. That's a CBK exchange rate.
Yep.
Mean of 130 to the dollar. What does that mean? We have seen the government coming out to say, you see the measures that we've taken, they are helping, they are improving, cost of living is coming down. We've seen the First Lady saying, Tuliomba. You can see. Mahoyane, Makinyu.
Attention to all the fun-loving children out there. It's time for the Club Kiboko Family Fun Day. This year, it is bigger, better, and we have lined up a day out for the whole family where kids can run around while parents get to relive fun childhood memories all over again. From great entertainment, food and games ranging from quad biking, virtual reality, PlayStation competitions, trampolines, horse riding, and more, you better be ready. And for the parents, we haven't left out that little child in you too. You're in for fun rounds of kati, blada, bano, rounders, karaoke, and even our very own cooking competition. So bring your kids and join in on the fun too at the Ulinzi Sports Complex on Saturday, 27th of April. Head over to tickethub.co.ke or ticketsasa.com today and purchase your tickets at 500 shillings for kids and 300 shillings for adults. Come let loose and have the time of your lives at the Club Kiboko Family Fun Day.
I've got a plan to make my investment sizzle hotter than a Sunday barbecue grill. ICEA Lion has a plan for everyone. Talk to us today for a plan that's right for you. Or visit icealion.co.ke. ICEA Lion.
What's up in Nairobi? Well, at least for now, at 16 degrees. We'll see highs of 25 and highs of 26 in a sunny Nakuru at 17. It's sunny at 16 in Nyeri, going to highs of 25 and lows of 15, while in Eldoret at 14, it is sunny with highs of 26. Sunny conditions at 25 in Mombasa, and Malindi this morning is sunny, well, partly cloudy, at 25 with highs of 31. Kisumu sunny at 21, going to highs of 29, and we'll see highs of 29 in a sunny Kakamega currently at 18. Kampala is cloudy at 21 with highs of 28 and mostly cloudy at 24 in Dar es Salaam. We'll see highs of 29. 10 degrees and mostly cloudy in Johannesburg with highs of 20 through Tuesday. And we'll see highs of 33 in a sunny Mogadishu at 18. It's cloudy at 16 in Addis Ababa with highs of 26 and lows of 15, while the rain keeps coming in Lagos at 28. We'll see highs of 33. It's mostly cloudy at 24 in Kinshasa, going to highs of 33.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, so a bit of a busy morning, different parts of the city. Your bypasses are looking pretty good, northern, southern. Let's take a look at the eastern bypass just now. There was traffic coming in from North Airport Road going out towards Cabanas. But I think we'll be all right. Well, no, that's not true. It's heavy traffic. And we're looking at that heavy coming off of North Airport Road, touching a little bit on Outer Ring and then going into the General Embakasi direction. And there's also inbound traffic, so in and outbound traffic along the eastern bypass. Not looking too fun for a Tuesday morning, but, keep your wits about. We'll see what happens as we get through towards traffic hour, which we're just starting now. Also, coming off of the Thika Superhighway, as you come in from the GSU headquarters junction, traffic through towards your junctions of Wangari Maathai and Murang'a Road. It's busy going on to the Globe Cinema. I think folks just got used to being on the Globe Cinema roundabout, so they decided, let's just still be going there for the next 1 week because, it's still busy. Apart from that, I think we'll be able to contend with what's going on. Limuru Road coming in from Kitisuru, very busy. We'll keep an eye on things. We're into traffic hour. We'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
To our economy, what's happening to our shilling? It's gained significantly against the dollar in the last couple of weeks. And Dr. you're saying this, as far as you can tell, is artificial. By June, then we'll start now resetting back to our factory settings, back to the status quo ante. Mm-hmm. And this is because we haven't increased anything. But then,
yes,
several things may have changed in terms of if, for example, we were importing, have we reduced our import bill?
Yes, slowly the imports are reducing because again you import in large quantities of anything, then and there's no demand locally, so you end up not making as many trips to China as you would before,
right?
Because of the issue of reduced money circulation in the economy. Yes.
Somebody's saying they don't understand what you said when you said, because the government has reduced its spending,
yes,
there's less shilling in circulation,
yes,
then that also is having another effect on the economy.
Yes.
It's like you're saying the government should not reduce its spending.
Actually, the reason I'm saying the government has reduced its spending is because this government is actually prioritizing debt payment. And when we say 1.2 trillion will be repaid to the people who had lent the money to the government, it means the government is not spending on projects that would have otherwise spurred the economy. And to make the matter worse, we are seeing a situation when the government is so aggressive in terms of giving attractive rate of return. We have seen high net worth investors who had so much money in the bank to a tune of even 100 million, going to the bank and telling the bank, I want to withdraw the amount of money I had invested with you or I had saved with you because you are giving me maybe a rate of return of 7%. And this person goes and buys infrastructure bond at a rate of about 18%. So when that happens, we are seeing the bank actually they use as a mediator, that they create a market between the savers and the investors. So someone who has excess capital, they go to the bank, they tell the bank, give me a rate of return of about maybe 5%, and someone else wants to borrow that money, goes to the same bank, and you are given maybe at a rate of 15%. But now the banks are not able to continue for long handling that kind of a transaction, because the people who are saving with the banks, they are no longer saving with the banks, they are going to the to buy government bonds. And that situation is so worse that the small banks, the tier 3 banks, they have started to shake, because initially the tier 1 banks, they were not negotiating with the savers. You would go and tell a tier 1 bank that I have 100 million I would want to save with you, and they would say, I am giving you a rate of return of 5%. Yes, if you don't want, we are not negotiating with you. So that person would go to a tier 3 bank. And tier 2, tier 3 would say, we are willing to negotiate with you and we'll give you 10%. Right now, because the government has become so aggressive, even the tier 1 banks, they are struggling to get people to save with them. So they now have started to compete with tier 3 banks. So anyone that would go to their office, to their shops, they are saying, can we negotiate? But three banks now are finding themselves in a very challenging situation.
But when we talk about the government paying debts,
yes,
that statement is not entirely true.
Yes,
because we seem to be more concerned about external debts.
Yes,
there's something in this country we call pending bills.
Yes, yes.
If the government sought and was serious about actually paying citizens whom they've done business with, don't you think that that circulation we are speaking of would actually increase? Because when we're looking at pending bills, what is it now, 700 billion?
Yep.
700 billion shillings pumped into the economy.
Yes.
Surely we will feel the movement, won't we?
But now the problem, those are two different types of debts. Those are two different types of debts, and if you want,
as a layman, it's a debt.
It's a debt.
Yes,
there are those debts that are secured by the government. That before the government pays anything else, it has to pay those debts. Like the debts for when we are repaying the treasury bills, treasury bonds or euro bond. Those one even before we pay the salaries.
First charge.
Yes, it's first charge to the consolidated fund account. But this other one, city, you go and build a road somewhere. That's a debt that you can wait as long as a year, 2 years.
We have a problem there, don't we?
A big one.
In terms, because what was happening at the time before we saw this, floating in March, was that there was pressure essentially to pay off part of this loan.
Yes.
And I kept asking, and I think I'm still at that point whereby here we are saying that the current situation is artificial, that it will not last, and that it's possible that the Kenya shilling will then again fall. The weakening will return, it will reoccur.
Yes.
But what would have been the solution at the time, beyond introducing all this money into the economy to then allow for this situation to be diffused? What should have been done that would have avoided this situation? Because the artificialness of the situation right now means that in a very short time, we're saying June, that we will essentially go back when money again is due and it is not enough to then pay what is due. With all the other things that need to be done, we will go back to a January, February situation. That's what we're saying. But what could have been done to have taken care of the situation at the time and then avoided this current situation today?
It's a good question. It's a good question. Number one is the way this Euro bond was structured was not structured in the best way possible. It was not a very effective way of structuring because we borrowed in 2014 and we said we'll do a bullet payment in 2024. Actually, the ones that we have now borrowed, this one for 1.5 billion USD, we have not committed to pay a one-off payment. We have said we'll pay in 3 different tranches. So even this one for 2014, we would have said we would pay maybe 50% of it by 2018, another 25% by 2020, and another 25% maybe by 2024. By doing so, we would not have felt that pressure. So what should have done is better structuring. Beyond that, I would also say that when we went to borrow for this Eurobond, we committed a higher interest rate for that, even compared with the other economies that are doing worse than us. Because a country like Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, and Benin, they still went to the same market to procure Eurobonds, and they were given at an interest rate of about 8.75% per annum, whereas us, we are going for about 10%. So
same place that these guys went to, the same place we went to.
Yes, same place that we went to.
Who are these people who negotiate on our behalf? I mean, I don't want their names. I'm just asking, what sort of people, what do they do, these people who go to negotiate for us?
That's the big question. I think they were a bit scared because the problem that we were facing about debt default would have been so catastrophical than even us getting this debt at a higher rate. So we were trying to avert a crisis.
And we had a date. We had a set date.
We had a set
June
30th. Yes.
That you have to deal with. If you don't take action fast enough, then the longer you wait, the more the market will come and tell you, umerudi. Sasa uko na 15%. Mzee amesema hiyo haiwezekani.
With this thing,
many questions, right?
No, far too many questions. I mean, it is ridiculous.
Right. Alex.
Yes.
The current CBK governor has previously told us that his predecessor and his regime were artificially holding up the shilling.
Yes.
Was that bad?
Yes.
Is he doing it now, or should he do it now?
I don't believe that to be true. I don't believe that to be true.
You don't think there was any artificial manipulation of the shilling?
Yes, because there are 3 types of exchange rate systems. We have a floating rate system, we have fixed rate system, and we have a hybrid. And the one that we use, and we have been using since around the liberalization of the Kenyan economy around early 1990s, it has been floating rate. And for you to actually run a fixed rate system, you must be having a lot of dollars in your reserves. That in case the dollar is demanded more, and because now you're having a fixed rate system, if the increase of dollars if the demand for dollar increases within the economy, and you don't have a adequate supply of that dollar, so what would happen? The price of that dollar would go up.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So in a country like us, where we don't have a ample stock of dollars, we would not be able to manage such a system, because in countries that have an ample stock of dollars, whenever there's a surge in demand for dollars, they release more dollars in the economy from their CBK, from their central bank. Because it's like the issue of fuel. If you can remember when there was when the government had put a price ceiling on fuel, and the government had said they don't sell more than 150.
Yeah.
But the traders in that sector, they were saying we cannot sell at 150 because we are buying it at a higher cost.
Yeah.
So what happened? There was scarcity of fuel. Those people, the producers or the traders,
oil marketing companies.
Yes, the traders, they have the fuel, but they don't want to sell. Same thing that would have happened in Kenya. If we were trying to
tinker with it.
Yes, to artificially manipulate the exchange rate, we would have encountered a big challenge, because for you to do that, you must have the power to release dollars and to call.
Are you saying there was no government hand at all that helped to sustain the shilling at 120 and below?
I would say no. I would say no. because it has like right now, we are actually below the recommended import cover. We are supposed to have savings at the CBK equivalent to more than 4 months amount of dollars that are required to pay for imports.
Yeah.
Right now it is about 3.8. So if we are saying we are at about 10 times the import cover, then we would say, yes, we had the muscle. Anytime the dollar would be needed at a higher level, we would control and release dollars in the market. So we would now be said to artificially control. Otherwise, if you don't have ample stock of dollars, you cannot artificially control it.
But Dr. Ari, the central bank, given the roles that it has, surely it has within its arsenal tools that it is actually supposed to use to stabilize our currency. It's not an illegality that they're performing. There's something called a bank rate, okay? They have that mandate, they have that leeway, it's something they can do. The world over, they do it. So when the current governor of the central bank talks about what his predecessor was doing, he seems to be imputing some ill intent and suggesting that perhaps what Dr. Njoroge was involved in was some nefarious activities. And yet, it's the central bank's mandate to ensure that not only is our currency stable, but it is their job to protect us.
That's true. But the use of those tools, they have a limit.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
So at what point then can one say that they have misused the tool?
That's a good question. And that's why for me, I don't believe that was the case. Okay. I don't believe that was the case.
You don't see how that happened?
Yes. Unless if a country had ample stock of dollars, you would release it so that to reduce that pressure on dollar.
Right.
And if you feel it is too much, again, you would recall it. But we don't have that luxury. And actually, just to go back a bit, when we say that we are doing very well because of the Kenyan currency has appreciated against the dollar, the question to ask is the last time that the Kenyan shilling was exchanging to dollar at 130 shillings, what was the interest? What was the CBR rate? The CBR rate by then was about 8.5%. So today the CBR rate is 13%. So if today we want the Kenyan currency to exchange at 120 vis-a-vis the dollar, what we need to do is to push the CBR rate to 20%.
And that can be done by making a decision. From what you're saying, it's just so easily change the rate.
It would be disastrous in other sectors. But what we are saying, when we say that the exchange rate right now is 130 against the dollar, what is the CBR rate? And let's compare when we were at 130 a while back.
Previously, yes.
What was the CBR rate? It was about 8.5%. So if we are at 8.5% like we were that at the time, we would say, we are doing better.
But other indicators that actually would make what you're saying less temporary, again, is if we were exporting more.
If we are, yes.
So we could argue that we are earning a great deal in foreign exchange.
Yes.
And yet, our foreign exchange earnings come from remittances. Predominantly.
Predominantly.
Yes.
And right now, actually, we are also closing that tap. Because you see, even the way the increase of passport processing, even the one
we are reducing our human exports.
Yes. Even it's we are not headed in the best of directions.
Diaspora remittances up 19% in the first quarter as inflationary pressure eases. This is a story in the Business Daily. Kenyans living and working abroad sent home $1.2 billion during the first 3 months of this year, marking an 18.8% jump from the inflows recorded in a similar period of last year on the back of easing inflationary pressure in developed economies. So Kenyans abroad in the first 3 months of this year sent in more money.
Yes.
Okoh, the inflation is reducing, so they have a bit more cash, so they're able to send us a bit more money. If much of this is actually, much of our inflows come from diaspora. What should we do to encourage them to send us more money?
Tax them.
Hold their families. Tuma pesa.
You know, these remittances, if you talk to and listen to what Kenyans go through to be able to send this money, it isn't as though they have so much money and they've decided, why don't we just send some home? No. The sending home of this money involves some serious belt tightening on their behalf.
That's true.
They want to make sure that their loved ones back home don't suffer. So it's not out of plenty. They deny themselves so that they can actually send that money.
That's true. Okay? That's true.
Now, for the longest time, there was always this debate, and this government did well when they actually created a State Department that deals with the diaspora. To their credit, it is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
But then, much as this is useful, with every government policy on taxation, are we ever really going to get to a point where we are going to be exporting more? Because to export more, it means you produce more. To produce more, it means you're able to produce at a competitive rate.
Yes.
And yet everything that we look at in the economy does not lend itself to that reality that I'm speaking of. Yes.
That's true. Because currently the tax rates are quite high. Even the cost of production in the manufacturing sector.
Yes.
When we talk about cost of electricity, cost of water, and so at the end of the day, we are not able to competitively compete with our neighboring countries.
Why was it so quick? And I know time is running down, but we looked at January 2023. I was just looking at the numbers now. January 2023, the shilling to the dollar was around 128 shillings.
Yes.
By the time the year ran out, we were easily at 140.
Yes.
Coming into this new year, 150, and then well into 162.
Yes.
But then in 1 month, we've seen it go from 162 to 130.
Yes.
Why would that happen so quickly? When it took so long to build?
Actually, I had anticipated that it would have gone to about 200, because the nearer we were going to the June 2024, the more panic we were having in the market vis-a-vis in terms of the strength of the Kenyan currency and our ability to repay that 2 billion euro bond. So it was getting worse as we were nearing. And that's why the government, I said, did the right thing by all means to ensure that we avert that looming crisis. So the moment that situation was diffused, that's why we saw now the Kenyan currency gain so much against the dollar and against other currencies. So it is true, after we repay this Eurobond on June, in June, we are not likely to go back to where we were in January this year, because we are there in January this year because of the danger that...
There was speculation.
Yes, there was speculation.
It's the anticipation of danger. Kamati ya roho chafu were just sitting there thinking, you will come for my dollar.
Yes.
Okay. So you still think it will not be at 130 come September?
It will not be at 130.
What do you think it will be?
It will be higher than 130, probably towards 140, 150 there, because the way, even the current situation that we are having, where the government is not very keen to ensure it incentivizes the agricultural production, and agriculture is our backbone of our economy. The kind of stories that we are witnessing, even the fertilizer that is supposed to be subsidized, yes, it is subsidized, but the quality is questionable. Instead of adding value to the soil, it is doing the opposite.
Value.
Yes, depleting value. So there is somewhere that we are having. We are doing it we are using the wrong approach, and but I feel it is still possible that for us to be positive, that the future will be better than it is right now.
We are praying, Bwana. Dr. Alex Kamau is an economist, he's a lecturer, he's a business consultant. He's been our guest. Time for the news, 8 a.m. Good morning.
Spice up your life.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. As the doctors' strike continues to the 5th week now, some leaders are increasingly calling on President William Ruto to intervene and help end the strike, which has further crippled medical services in public hospitals. Speaking in Butsoto East, Lurambi constituency, Kakamega County, the Bishop of Emusara Church of God, Peter Atola, says it is important that a solution is found, as it is not threatening to destroy the health sector in the country.
Wetu kama sisi wachungaji tunaomba serikali kuu na madaktari waweze kukaa kwa meza wasikisane ili madaktari waendelee kutoa huduma kwa wananchi. Ukitembea kwa hospitali zote kuna wananchi wanaumia. So kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali kuu wapende tu wakae chini, hatutaki kusikia mkomo hapa na pale. Kama sisi viongozi wa kanisa tuna wakongo wengi sana, hata leo hawajahudhuria kanisani kwa ajili ya kuwa wagonjwa. So kwa hivyo tunaomba ya kwamba serikali ikae chini. Tunaendelea tu kuomba wakae chini wasikisane na madaktari wakijua kwamba kazi ambayo wanafanya hiyo madaktari ni kazi ya Mwenyezi Mungu.
Coffee farmers in Tongaren constituency, Bungoma County, have called on the county and national government to build a coffee factory in the area to strengthen the cultivation of the crop. According to the farmers, the area has a great potential to produce coffee in large quantities, but it is facing many challenges including the lack of modern machines.
Naomba tu serikali challenges zenye tuko nazo, serikali tusaidie to meet these challenges, mambo ya mbolea, mambo ya factory, pia mambo ya kuelimisha wakulima. Serikali iwe karibu pamoja na sisi kwa sababu employment imekuwa ngumu, na sisi tukijiachiri kama wakulima kupitia kwa kahawa hatutakuwa na shida ya kupata pesa za kuelimisha watoto wetu shuleni, na hata katika maisha yetu ya kila siku kibaba cha nyumba tutapata.
They've also urged the government to distribute seedlings to farmers who are able to meet the large number of farmers who have embraced the agriculture of coffee.
Kitu kinachotuwa sana, hatuna mashine ile, hatuna mtambo ule wa kuwezesha ili tushake kahawa nyingi. Mara nyingi kahawa nyingi huwa zinaletwa, lakini kwa kukosa huo mtambo kahawa nyingi zinaharibika zikipelekwa kama mbuni. Hapo nyuma serikali yetu ya county ilikuwa ikitusaidia kwa kuleta mbegu, lakini hivi leo wakulima wengi wanahitaji mbegu, lakini hatuna hiyo mbegu.
The national government and the Kilifi County government have been asked to recognize the various talents of the youth in the country in an effort to create more employment opportunities. Human rights defender for people with epilepsy in Magarini Sub-County, Patrick Chirongo, says neglecting the talent of young people causes many young people in the county to go into despair.
Vijana wetu wa Magarini wako na vipawa tofauti tofauti. Wengine ni wazuri kwa kucheza mpira wa miguu, wengine ni wasanii wa nyimbo za injili, wengine wanaimba secular music, na wengine ni wazuri kwa kutengeza filamu. Vijana kama wa Golden Art Production ya Gongoni, Malindi, wako sawa kwa kutengeneza filamu tamu. Timu ya mpira ya miguu ya Mtoroni Football Club ikiongozwa na Baraka Zombo miongoni mwa zingine nyingi. Vijana hawa wanajikakamua kufanya maajabu kupitia kwa vipaji vyao, lakini wanakosa watu wa kuwashika mkono na kuvikuza vipaji vyao.
Heavy traffic has been witnessed on Mombasa Nairobi highway near Voi. It is reported that the traffic snarl-up has been caused by an accident that occurred between Mtita and Day and Voi involving 3 vehicles. Some travelers on the road say they have been stuck for over 5 hours. We will keep you posted on this developing story in our subsequent news bulletins. Now, Israel has released 150 Palestinians who are detained during the military operations in Gaza Strip, according to the General Authority for Crossings and Borders in Gaza. The authority said in a press statement that the Palestinians were released via a Karim Shalom crossing in the southern strip. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society said in a separate statement that the Israeli forces released 2 of its ambulance crews after they had been detained for 50 days. The statement added that the Israeli forces arrested them at a military checkpoint in Khan Yunis, south of the Gaza Strip, where they were on a mission to evacuate patients from the Al-Amal hospital in February. The statement disclosed that Israeli forces have detained 6 crews from the society and their current situation remain unknown. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Asada. Good morning.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Okay, a few minutes after 8 o'clock, traffic buzzing in the city. Let's take a look at exactly where. On the Thika Superhighway, as you come through towards the CBD, we'll see some movement there, but it's normal as you get over the survey area and then in towards that roundabout at Globe Cinema. So that will do the normal rounds every here and there. Coming in on Muranga Road, that's busy. The Thika Superhighway also very busy. Coming in from that GSU headquarters, Outer Ring Junction, and then in on Kiambu Road, that's busy as well. Limuru Road taking on some here and there. Coming out of Westlands, also busy. Ring Road Westlands buzzing with activity, and also looking at Huru Highway coming in from the Nyayo Stadium roundabout. Some off Langata Road out towards the city, that's already thumping. On Jogo Road, it's busy. Some of that coming off then on Lusaka Road. Likoni Road also pretty busy this morning, so we're into traffic hour proper. It's what's happening. Let's see what it does in about half hour or so. In the meantime, let us know if you run into anything thick. We can find an alternate route. We'll speak on SpiceFM KE on X hashtag the Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
I said it was just said there's somewhere where people are stuck for hours.
I was trying to.
We'll
find out that information in a bit.
Yeah, we'll get it again. So, yeah. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing when you're on the road and then you're stuck and you don't know, particularly when you don't know what's happening ahead. You don't know what's causing the traffic. That usually is a pain.
It is a pain, but what is worse is when that happens in the evening. We've had occasions in this town where people actually are stuck the whole night.
Yep.
And they cannot move.
It's happened to me.
Oh
a number of just here in the river.
Oh dear.
Just a couple of years back, same thing. Oh, road construction. Sijui what. And people end up spending an entire night because the first thing that happens is there's a small traffic snarl up in this kind of thing, and then there was heavy traffic. Let's say people had gone for some sporting activity on one part of the.
That's it.
And then there's a lot of traffic on this particular carriageway, and that's the time when the authorities have decided we are going to do something or the other on this section of the road, and so you can go find a road somewhere there in the river or up that tree,
wherever.
Take your pick.
Just take your pick. So people just end up starting now to look for alternative routes.
And then a gridlock occurs.
Gridlock. So yes, we can talk about people's behavior, but I always say, what is making people behave that way? Why were people not overlapping before we got to this section? Why are people overlapping here? What could you have done to avert that? That's causing people to overlap. Anyway, coming into the third hour of the Situation Room this morning, thank you very much for everybody who's tuning in. There's a message for you from ICEA Lion as being delivered by Ndu Okoh.
What's your plan is the question, and that's how it comes in the form of a message. So the question is, what is your plan? And if you have an answer, it probably is, well, this is what I want to do. In terms of a plan and how I'm going to execute it, I'm not so sure. Enter ICEA Lion, because they will say, okay, this is what you want to do. How about we activate that for you? How about we give you ideas in which how we can make this happen? So what does it require? That you have a conversation with them in terms of what it is that you want to do. It could be futurely, a month, 3 months, 3 years, 30 years. Really, what is it that you desire to do? What they will do for you is say, okay, let's sit down and let's work this out together, and you can come up with a plan that we will actually make sure that you see through to fruition. plan.icealion.co.ke. Get onto the website, find out the different ideas that are available, and then write to them. plan@icealion.co.ke.
Kidi Muga is the Secretary for Policy and Legislative Affairs for the political party known as KANU. Is our guest for the next hour. Kidi, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Thank you very much.
Did you get that message from ICALion?
I did. Yes.
It's plan.icealion.co.ke. Visit that website. You'll get a lot more information, but it is about planning. I mean, that's what you do at the political party, right?
Yes.
You think about what the party ought to do. When you're thinking policy, you're thinking what needs to happen, what needs to come. So you're the right person to actually have a conversation with ICA.
Thank you.
For your plans.
I will take up that offer.
Very good. Yes. Very good. That's what we like to hear. We also like to hear the day's proverb from CT. This week he says he's from some archipelago of islands in the west of Africa.
Yes, Cape Verde.
Cape Verde.
Yes, people keep calling Cape Verde. I've refused. It is Cape Verde. Imendikwa Verde.
Verde.
Okay. And that is exactly how.
Cape Verde.
Yes. Or Cabo Verde. Yes.
So somebody, that's the way it's written.
Yes.
Cape Verde.
Yes.
Okay. Cabo Verde. Portuguese.
In Portuguese, yes.
Right.
The dog's happy dream produces no meat.
Wait, before you go into the
proverb.
Yeah, this man is a political party guy.
Yes.
Tell him that system of government again. Let's see if he understands it.
Let me go to town on this one.
Yes.
One of the wonderful things about Cabo Verde or Cape Verde is this. It is one of the stablest countries on this continent. And there are those who would argue it is partly because of the sort of political system it has. It's what you call a unitary semi-presidential republic.
Unitary semi-presidential republic.
Exactly. Semi-presidential in the sense that they have a president, okay, whose name is, it's written Jose, but I'm sure it's pronounced Jose Maria Neves. Okay. They have a prime minister called Ulysses Correia Silva. Okay. That's it. No vice president. No this and the other, which means they have a hybrid system where the prime minister has powers, the president has powers. So that's the check and balance in their system. Something which works for them. Okay? It doesn't fall into any category that you could sort of like refer to and say parliamentary or presidential.
So the president is still head of government.
Oh, yes, he is.
And the prime minister has executive roles in government.
Yes, he does.
The prime minister is elected by parliament.
Yes.
Okay. Hybrid indeed.
It's hybrid indeed. And the power sharing structure is probably part of the reason why it is this stable.
Okay.
Yes.
What is their independent political party called? You know, ours is called KANU.
Do they have an independent political party? Yes, they do. Now, did I write it down? No, I did not. However,
okay, we'll find out.
That is a question that I will answer tomorrow.
That's the job that we're giving. You're giving Kidi Muga that assignment.
Yes.
Okay. As an official of Kenya's independent political party,
yes,
will tell us the independent political party of Cape Verde. Okay. The proverb, Trafalali City.
The proverb. The dog's happy dream produces no meat.
The dog's happy dream produces no meat.
Yes.
Interpret that, Kidi.
Thank you, Eric, and my big brother, City. I think that the dog's happy dream produces no meat is that the dog would wish that it has the hand delivered to it at its feet. However, the dog must, in the same vein and breath, realize that it has to fold its sleeves, if dogs have sleeves, and run after the hand and kill it. And that is when it may have something for the day, and that is when it would have the meat. Sheer be a hope that meat will come without matching that hope with work is not enough.
Meat doesn't grow on trees.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Neither does it grow in your dreams.
Neither does it grow in your dreams.
Nice.
No.
Dream on.
Yes.
Okay. Secretary for Policy and Legislative Affairs.
Yes.
Okay. So, first of all, just take us through the structures of the political party KANU.
Thank you. Political party KANU, Kenya African National Union, primarily has a secretariat that does day-to-day running of the party. Over and above that, we have got the NEC, which makes the decisions of the party, and the NEC has got representation of various sectors of the party. Of course, there are the youth representatives, there is the women, there is what you call the mainstream part of the party constituting the NEC. From the NEC, we've got the NGC, and then we've got the NDC, which is the ultimate organ of the party. Unlike most political parties, we don't have the position of the party leader. We have instead the position of the party chairman, which is the senior most position within the party. Yes.
Why did KANU decide not to have a party leader?
I think going through our own tradition, that for a long time we had the position of the party chairman, which for us historically was the highest position, the highest position within the party in terms of leadership and direction. We decided to retain that tradition. And while other political parties found it convenient to have positions of party leader and party chairman, which essentially is to distribute positions and to contain political fallout within the party, we decided that we have a chairman and that's enough. And everybody else can occupy other positions below the chairman.
How old is KANU? More than 60 years old.
We were formed in 1960 in a place called Tinganga, Kiambu, in March.
Okay.
So that brings us to 64. Yes.
It's the oldest political party right now in the country.
Yes.
And you've had what? Only 4 chairmen?
We have had only 4 chairmen.
Talk about tradition, city.
And stability.
Stability.
That is indeed true. But what is of interest is this. When you look at political parties in East Africa and you look at the longest serving, the one which comes to my mind is Chama cha Mapinduzi in Tanzania.
Yes.
It has remained the dominant party.
Yes.
Okay? And yet, they also have a multi-party system just like we do. Okay? How is it that KANU did not retain the power that it had? Because for the longest time, in fact, everybody who is in government was in KANU at some point or the other.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So, or are we going to claim that KANU is really a training institution where they mature politicians and then release them to form other parties so that democracy can grow? Why did KANU not retain the power it had for the years that it actually had the power?
I think that's a very legitimate question, City. But then I want us to look at the historical political development of this country. That after the time when we flirted with what you call single party era,
yes.
By the time we reintroduced multipartyism formally in the 90s, there had been built up of political pressure in this country.
Yes.
And so I think that part of KANU's loss in 2002 and being unable, particularly the loss at that point in time, was its inability, I must admit, to manage the politics during the single party era and during the transition. Because you look at CCM of Tanzania, you realize that President Nyeri had the foresight that early on in 1985, he decides that he has stayed on for enough period and decides to hand over to Mwinyi. And then by the time Mwinyi is reintroduces multi-party democracy in the 90s, then already CCM is still viewed as by the people that it was still their best last hope.
It was a progressive party.
Yeah, as a progressive party. So when you get parties like NCCR Mageuzi, CAF of Ibrahim Lipumba and others, already CCM had demonstrated that it was progressive enough. And so in CCM's wisdom, to manage this transition better than most of its peers, I think that is where we dropped the ball. Go to Zambia, the party of Kenneth Kaunda. It has been, I don't think it has been able to capture power since Kaunda left office.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, so I think that is the same tragedy we have suffered. Yes, and I think we give credit to President Nyeri for that foresight. Yes.
KANU as a party, I mean, as is expected or assumed for most other parties, has an ideology.
Yes.
What is it?
We are a center-right party, and center-right means that we are a party that believes that the government should only do certain things and let certain other then there are things we leave to the private citizens. We are not, a center-right party is not an interventionist, does not believe in an interventionist government. So as a center-right party, we are a party that believes in family values. We are a party that believes that ideally capital should be in the hand of entrepreneurs as opposed to state getting involved in running of enterprises. Yes, yes.
Has it always been the case for KANU?
Well, there is
when
life
KANU
as
was
it,
Baba and Mama, it was
of course, there is life as it as a reality, and then there is the ideal.
Yes.
Sometimes, and realize that one of the biggest struggles in life is to bridge that divide. The divide between the life as it is and the life as it ought to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you find any political groupings in this country that are completely opposed to the position, the center-right position that KANU occupies? Like, are there ideologies in this country that you've seen in political parties that are totally the opposite of what KANU believes in?
Well, if you scan around, particularly if you look at the major players, since we left office, the party that almost took a center-left position was NAC. But it was for a very brief period, and then it reverted back to center-right. Between 2003 to 2005, I think President Kibaki really attempted to engage in government interventions. But then I think after 2005, after 2006, you realize that it reverted back to center-right. And afterwards, you look at government, how government is run from 2008 all the way to last general elections. We move into something called flagship projects. And so when you get into flagships, you realize that now government starts to when it is implementing projects, when they are called the flagships, now they are passed through acclamation. There is no so I think yes, the only time. So, but back to answer your question more properly, is that the only time we felt that there was a party that attempted to move from center right was the duration between NAC during 2003 to 2005. Yes.
Today,
yes.
How does KANU live out its ideology? I keep going back to ideology because essentially it should be the thing that guides, and then we say that those who then enter into positions of leadership, governance, whatever it may be, then essentially would carry the ideology of the party, because essentially that's the vehicle that delivered them into that position. So then how has KANU, or how is KANU currently living out those ideologies that we speak of in present day political Kenya?
Yes. Thank you. Bwanasiti said earlier that KANU has become a training ground. I must say from the outset that, remember in the last general election, KANU had two presidential candidates. The two leading gentlemen honed their skills in our backyard. And so today, how are we living these ideologies? One, I think I must again say that KANU has gotten to the saturation level of what would happen to a political party out of power. The only place KANU can now go is up. So then how is KANU living its ideology? KANU today has got a very robust youth league. You can clearly see that Secretary of Policy and Legislative Affairs is a fairly young man. And same goes to a lot of other positions within the party. That the party has given these young people an opportunity to exercise their talent and imaginations. Beyond that, we also have a very robust KANU Campus League, where we are working very intimately with young people in institutions of higher learning and trying to orient them into the type of country we would want to preside over when we get back to power. Because again, we believe that government remains one of the most powerful tools of collective social progression. Yes. Again, not through interventionism, but by ensuring that it puts in place an infrastructure, an environment that enables citizens to then thrive.
Okay.
Yes, through private enterprise.
So the evangelists of the ideology of KANU are what you've described, the youthful Kenyans, whom you're engaging more robustly and using them to come in and be members and thrive in the party.
Yes.
How are they spreading this message?
Of course, they're spreading this message through their daily interactions, because we remember that we've got what is called the youth space in this country. So there is a civic youth space. So even in institutions of higher learning, these young people are asking themselves, which direction are we headed as a country? And which type of country or society do you want to have in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years? I will tell you something, that in 2004, this country had a wonderful opportunity to redirect itself towards its highest ideals. But I must also say on this show that the country missed that opportunity because of the brand of politics it was practicing then. As young people, we are saying that we must teach ourselves to practice a brand of politics that 20 years from now, we will say that we were part of the golden era that helped this country redirect itself towards its highest ideals.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds very good. Sounds like a boardroom conversation. I don't interact with it. There are days when you see the KANU youth wingers.
Yes.
Whatever they were doing, whether they were spreading the ideals or ideology of the party, we can argue over that, but they were visible.
Yes.
In terms of being active and robust out there,
yes,
KANU isn't as active, as visible out there as we've seen the other, like you said, the other political parties. You're seeing UDA, you're seeing WIPA, you're seeing ODM. We're not seeing KANU as a unit being as visible as this. Is this part of the strategy, or?
Thank you for that question again, Eric. I think that KANU is a very robust political party. And then while everyone may believe that political mobilization only happens through political rancor, that a lot of our competitors have embraced, I think we've been around. So with the benefit of experience that we have, we know when to robustly engage the citizens and when to retreat back and engage through channels that are established. For instance, when the political fallout was raging, and it was called mass action, or others called it Maandamano Mondays and Thursdays.
Yes.
This country was crying for leadership. Through KANU, we managed to consolidate voices of young people across the political divide, and came up with what is called Interparties Youth Forum, IPYF. Maybe you have interacted with it in other sectors. Interparties Youth Forum was an initiative of KANU, and that is when young people across the political divide, in their wisdom, decided that in this moment, let KANU lead them. And they gave that responsibility to the Secretary, Policy and Legislative Affairs, KANU, yes. So that is how KANU is engaging. And because KANU believes that politics of pragmatism, politics of purpose, politics that gives people a chance, is an ideal that we can still pursue and live for, as opposed to politics of dogmatism.
Okay.
Yes.
Time for a break. 8:30. Our guest is Kidi Muga. He is the Secretary for Policy and Legislative Affairs of Kenya's oldest political party, the Kenya African National Union, KANU. We are talking about KANU, the party, and then we'll also talk about the politics in the country. We're seeing a lot of movement. You know, there have been several attempts since Kibaki days to consolidate parties again into one giant party. Is it taking back to the KANU days? You know, everybody says they're taking back to the old KANU days. I'm avoiding to use the word dark here because So what does that mean, and how do you understand it? How to mean? I'm seeing somebody has actually talked about being stuck in that traffic between Voi and Mtitwandei.
Another issue today.
Stuck there for 6 hours because of an accident, and then it says, and then Kenyans started doing what Kenyans do. They overlapped into the size of plantations. Kwisha.
That one done.
I've got a plan that will keep me playing Beethoven until I'm 100.
ICEA Lion has a plan for everyone. Talk to us today for a plan that's right for you. Or visit icealion.co.ke. ICEA Lion, what's your plan?
Attention to all the fun-loving children out there. It's time for the Club Kiboko Family Fun Day. This year, it is bigger, better, and we have lined up a day out for the whole family where kids can run around while parents get to relive fun childhood memories all over again. From great entertainment, food and games ranging from quad biking, virtual reality, PlayStation competitions, trampolines, horse riding, and more, you better be ready. And for the parents, we haven't left out that little child in you too. You're in for fun rounds of kati, blada, bano, rounders, karaoke, and even our very own cooking competition. So bring your kids and join in on the fun too at the Ulinzi Sports Complex on Saturday, 27th of April. Head over to tickethub.co.ke or ticketsasa.com today and purchase your ticket at 500 shillings for kids and 300 shillings for adults. Come let loose and
Sunny
have
in
the
Nairobi,
time of your...
18 degrees, we'll see highs of 25 and highs of 27 in a sunny Nakuru at 19. 17 and sunny in Nyeri with highs of 27, and we'll see highs of 26 in Eldoret where it's sunny at 16. Looking into a partly sunny Mombasa at 27, we'll see highs of 31 and highs of 31 as well in Malindi where it's cloudy at 26. Sunny at 22 in Kisumu with highs of 29, while into Kakamega at 21, it's sunny going to highs of 29 as well. It's mostly cloudy at 22 in Kampala with highs of 28, and looking into a partly cloudy Dar es Salaam at 25, we'll see highs of 29 and lows of 24. At 11 degrees cloudy in Johannesburg with highs of 19 and 31 in Mogadishu, it's sunny going to highs of 34. 18 and cloudy in Addis Ababa with highs of 26. The rains have stopped temporarily in Lagos at 28 with highs of 33, and we'll see highs of 33 in a mostly cloudy Kinshasa at 24.
Up your life.
From that Mtitwandei area traffic jam that's inbound Nairobi, it's a mess, a big one, and folks have been on the road for over 6 hours. So if you're in that, I'm not quite sure what's causing that this morning, but more information coming through to you. On Landis Road, very busy as you're into the city. Jogo Road also busy. It's going to touch on Likoni Road a little bit and come through that interchange with Enterprise, Likoni, then through towards the Southern Bypass interchange. So just looking at that and what happens on Uhuru Highway out into the city, not too bad until you get to the Nyeri Stadium roundabout, and then it starts to pack up as you get towards Haile Selassie at that junction. It's still heavy coming off of Thika Superhighway, at least from Survey, and it's reduced significantly on Kiambu Road. Still some traffic on Ring Road Westlands. James Gishuru very busy this morning in and outbound over that drift. and then through towards the Red Hill Link Road. That's an absolute mess right about now. Let's keep an eye on things. We're still in traffic hour. We'll talk on SpiceFM, KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Parties in Kenya. Secretary for Policy and Legislative Affairs at KANU is Kidi Muga. He's our guest. So, you've told us what KANU stands for, yes. What KANU is doing to engage with the people. But then somebody's saying, oh, come on, you're coming here and you tell us, oh, we have an ideology, or you center right in this Kenya.
Yes.
Tribes, my friend.
Yes.
How do you respond to that?
Again, that is a very legitimate position or concern, that the political mobilization in ethnically fractured countries like ours is something you can't wish away. For instance, in this country, you know that there are instances where, not instances, but it has been the norm, that politicians have always attempted to take advantage of ethnic cleavages anytime they are attempting to get a political platform. This has been so bad that sometimes it does not matter however good a leader is. And that is why yesterday, in yesterday's Standard article, you might have read it, Secretary of Policy and Legislative Affairs KANU said that the president needs to be given benefit of the doubt in his capacity in his vision to transform this country. Because I think in the last 1.5 years that the president has been in office, one of the things he has done, of course less measurable but not less profound, is changing of the tone of the politics of this country. Let me tell you something. When we left the elections, remember that the word Kagege or Tugege gained notoriety in central Kenya. And it was a term that was being used to insult people who they felt had, betrayed the community or the tribe. Back where I come from, in 2007, we had a very ranking member in the cabinet in the name of Raphael Tuju. But because he was seen not to tap to the ethnic ambition at that point in time, he was kicked out. And that story is rampant within the country. I think that as young people, again, our presence in politics means nothing if it will not inspire a wave of newness. We are saying that we have a chance to try to be people who are the people who are going to attempt to usher in an era of national solidarity, irrespective of ethnic identities and other considerations that politicians may want to take advantage of at the expense of national interest.
What is KANU's stronghold?
Again, KANU's stronghold is the young people. I know you may want to...
From where?
From across the Republic. From across the Republic, because
yes,
the challenges facing young people in this country are not alive to, do not know that you are a Luo or Kisi or Kuria or whatever. When you are hungry as an individual. When young people do not have a chance at proper education that would open up their minds and their hearts and gives them an opportunity, it does not matter whether you are Taita or Mijikenda. It knows that you are a young person who has been shot in the foot because you've not been given an education that puts you in a place where you can compete in the global economy. So the stronghold of KANU today is these young people who are crying for opportunity, who are looking at the healthcare infrastructure and are disappointed that not enough is done to ensure that we've got a healthcare infrastructure that is second to none. Crying for opportunity to do what? Well, opportunity is everything, my sister, do. Because when the dream of the reason why man at the very beginning moves away from what Thomas Hobbes called a state of nature, where life was short, nasty, and brutish, is because of that desire, innate desire for upward social mobility. The dream that my children would have a better shot at life than I did. So that is opportunity.
But
it is something...
I understand the concept of opportunity.
Yes.
And I think that, there are many things that have been said about it. It comes but once, grab it when you can, etc., etc.
Yes.
But in Kenya today,
yes,
look at everything that's happening.
Yes.
And when we say that young people who are affiliated with this party, or any other party for that matter,
yes,
are crying for an opportunity,
yes,
I insist.
Yes.
An opportunity to do what?
Well, we are looking at opportunity as an opportunity to live in dignity. For us as a party, dignity is at the very core of our political orientation. That when government intervention, that when people cannot take their children to school, that when young mothers cannot raise their children in an environment of dignity, for us, that matters to us.
Okay.
Yes.
Are those conversations being held at party level? Because everybody touts about how, Erica talked about people engaging and bringing in young people then who are being fostered into leadership, who are being then encouraged to take up these positions at whatever level and then rise through the ranks.
Yes.
And this great responsibility is put on their shoulders, the leaders and the leaders of the future, the leaders of tomorrow, etc., etc. But I wonder, do they get into these positions? Do they get this? And this is the opportunity for me.
Yes.
That there's so much happening on whatever side of the spectrum you want to look at it. In a positive way, in a negative way, there's so much happening. So where is that voice that says we want to be part of this thing that is going to bring about change? Remember, I asked about ideology. There was a reason. Because now here we are and we are saying, if this ideology that for so many people seems so philosophical,
yes,
how are you then able to bring
so far
it?
Removed from the reality.
It is.
Yes.
How are you able to then bring it
to bridge the divide
today, where things are going on, and the young people are saying they're begging for this opportunity to do what? And I still keep asking that question, because if it is not to get into an arena where things have gone so terribly wrong, and that young people are saying, come on guys, this is how we can actually fix it, give me this position of leadership and I will then be able to do this, that and the other thing.
Yes.
In the arena of political parties, if that conversation is not being had, we might as well be talking about anything else.
Yes.
And it has almost become like the choir is singing, that people are saying, give young people an opportunity in politics. Come on. Where are we going? What's happening? An opportunity to do what?
This is what is happening, my sister Ndu. And thank you for that profound elaboration. The year 2019-2020, one of the programs that Kanu embarked on very seriously was the question of review of the party constitution. The secretary to the committee that was reviewing the party constitution was yours truly. If you looked at the membership of that committee, it was largely young people, young lawyers. If you look at other programs that are being run in the party, they are conducted by young people. Again, I will tell you something about my party leader, my party chairman, Senator Gideon Moi, that in the instances we've had a chance to sit down with him, he has insisted that young people who join Kanu first must identify their unique talents and then figure out how their unique talents can be deployed within the party as a training ground. Because in the event that you are placed in a position of responsibility, then you are able to discharge that responsibility with utmost diligence. There is a slogan in the party that ready to serve from day one. It is something we learned from chairman, that young people are asking for opportunity, opportunity to serve, opportunity to make difference, opportunity to demonstrate that this country is not as bad as sometimes we've been made to think or believe. We are actually a very good country, and sometimes we have been let down by small politics.
Let me ask this question.
Yes, please.
A youth-centric party like yours must have a strong youth component.
That's true.
What's the number?
We are in thousands, I must admit. Again, remember that by the time we were going to the last general election, in the year 2021, our party leader, our party chairman, launched his presidential bid. Of course, because of political realities then, we shelved that political bid because we realized that we had two sons of our own who were running and we could support either of them. Again, remember that by that time...
This is Ruto and Raila?
Yes.
They are sons of Kanu?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So by the time we were shelving that ambition, remember we had robust party branches. You know what the political party says about party branches, and what party branches are includes, among others, the young people. So Kanu party has got young people in their thousands.
Okay, let me explain to you why I'm asking the question. Huh?
Yes, please.
If I look at the president and his deputy,
yes,
and the way they've gone about their business, the one thing that stands out is their quest for visibility.
Yes.
Whether it is in inaugurating a road,
yes,
or whatever it is, visibility.
Yes.
There are those who've complained and said, but surely as a president, do everything.
Yes.
Visibility.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, you cannot go through any single day without the president being in your face in one way or the other.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
On the other hand, when there were clear difficulties within, as you say, the former children of Kanu,
yes,
and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga and his party had issues to say about the cost of living.
Yes.
Again, visibility.
Yes.
Every time those in power
Yes.
would have something negative to say about the ODM leader, again, what they were affording him was visibility.
Yes.
I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
So we talk about Kanu.
Yes.
We talk about Kanu youth.
Yes.
Where is the visibility? Because that is what makes people know that the party is vibrant,
yes,
and that the party is alive.
Yes.
We see it through the leadership of that particular party.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay, now you're here today.
Yes.
Why didn't you come earlier?
Because I was working with young people in the Interparties Youth Forum. Now that you've asked that, you want to see more activities from...
Well, if Kanu is to be relevant,
yes,
they have to be visible.
Yes.
Yes. You can't be relevant and then you're not visible. If people don't see you, then they don't really know you exist.
Yes.
Eh?
Yes.
You'll be a bedtime story.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
But when you are seen, and the things you're talking about are seen,
Yes.
and the youth you're speaking of are seen, participating and doing things, visibility yet again.
But then again, Mr. City,
yes,
that Kanu youth are are out there. For instance, during the People's Dialogue Festival, if you had a chance to attend, you must have interacted with young people from Kanu. And again, remember that...
I was there, I did.
Yes.
I can attest to that.
Yes. And it is not only that. I think that we also are engaging a lot of young people in institutions of higher learning. Maybe what you are saying that the visibility you think we should engage in is that you want to see us conducting processions in the streets.
No.
Yes.
You choose the visibility that you want, because everything you've described here
yes,
is visibility at its bare minimum.
Yes.
And the truth of the matter is this.
Yes.
How will people know that Kanu is alive and well
yes,
if they do not witness
yes,
activities that Kanu is involved in?
Yes.
Forget the demonstrations.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
But then again, why should you forget the demonstrations?
Yes.
There's a golden opportunity with the doctors' strike.
Yes.
Where do you people stand? When there was the issue of cost of living, which is still alive and well,
yes,
where does Kanu stand?
Yes.
What statements have you made? Again, you know this word visibility, I'm not going to let go of it.
Yes.
Because you cannot exist as a national party and claim to have clout when you have next to zero visibility.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think that, again, it goes back to our leadership style. That I think we have adopted a fairly laid-back leadership style. Yes, and that, of course, seems to make people like my brother City think that we are losing visibility.
I actually don't think you don't have it. It's not that you're losing it. You actually don't have visibility.
Yes.
You see, this is politics we're talking about, because political parties are Precisely that. And you compare it with other people in other political parties.
Yes.
You have to be a talking point. You have to be a party that people can speak about and say, we've seen them supporting. Why do I give...
But people are speaking about KANU having consolidated voices of young people in a moment when this country looked like it had been visited by the dark ages.
Maybe it's different platforms. And the platform that KANU is, and you've said a number of times now, KANU is active, but on several platforms.
Yes.
And CT has not interacted with those platforms. So is there a case to expand the platforms so it can reach more and more people?
Yes.
I know you're targeting the youth.
Yes.
CT, youth, CT, not same was up. But is there a platform where CT would engage?
CT can interact with those platforms.
Yes.
I think, my brother CT, one thing is that after the general election, or again, after every general election, you know, parties take time to retreat, to introspect, to rethink their strategy. And after the 2022 general elections, I think as a party, we deliberately took time off to turn our eyes inwards. Because of that moment of introspection, together with the chairman, we have not been actively on the streets, especially in platforms that ordinarily, as a journalist, you would interact with us with notoriety. But I think that now that we are getting to almost 2 years after elections, the things we have been doing in that moment of introspection, the time has come to roll them out. In rolling them out, you are going to see a lot of activities from KANU. Because, again, we believe legitimately that we are a government in waiting.
Okay, let's do this. I mean, we talk about the would-bes and the ideal situation and how things should be, you know, inspiration, motivation to get young people involved. And I really do feel that not just young people, but every citizen of the country, we must have citizen-based governance.
Yes.
We talked about this at length yesterday.
Yes.
And I think that most times the vehicle that delivers this is political parties. I think we often don't see the strength that lies in that if done the right way.
Yes.
If done the right way.
Yes.
And I'm going to say the third time, if done the right way, because I think many times we miss the mark.
Yes.
But looking at the country today, and I think oftentimes we need to put things in context, because we can be inspirational and say this is where we want to be.
Yes.
In 10 years' time, the party will deliver 1,000 strong youth who will do today.
In the here and now.
Where there are so many situations that are going haywire, whereby the economy, many would say, all right, is tanking, whereby there are opportunities for governance of an authentic nature to take place. What should be done? What place then would be played by the folks who are going to go through this program that you talk about, that at the end of the day you will deliver them and say, here, country, take. What would they do? How would they deliver? How would we see situations like Ghana that are going haywire then essentially be tweaked to operate in the way in which they were originally designed for? How do we place these individuals in these positions whereby we can see progress? And I think if we're not asking or answering those questions, then we're just talking about things in the stratosphere of the possible. But it is not here now. And if we cannot see that this is how it would actually work, this is what we would do, then perhaps we need to, work it a little bit more. So how would they? What would they do? Where would they be? Are we saying now we're going to deliver them, let them run to be governors, senators, members of parliament, members of the county assemblies? What are we saying exactly?
But why run when there are issues in the country that require voices?
This is what I'm saying. How would they be present? How would they be presented and say, where would you lend your voice after having gone through these processes? Where do we see them? In Kenya?
Yes. I think that, number one, you know that we speak. Can youth speak? We speak through writing. We speak through channels like this. We speak through our campus league meetings. We speak through our branch meetings because we visit the branches. We speak through young people who, of course, already have decided to express interest to run for office. Again, I know that part of your frustration could be that you do not see us in the streets because that is a brand of politics that is very popular around here. But then again, we think that in the last 1 year, it has been imperative that we give the government of the day a chance to implement its manifesto. And so I think that so that in the moment it has been doing its work, we've also, again, as I said earlier, we've been busy introspecting, looking. Remember that our party does not deserve its name, is not worth its name, if it does not have representatives in the county assemblies forum, in the National Assembly, in the Senate, if it does not produce a presidential candidate. So these are things that, remember, we didn't run in 2013. We didn't. In 2013, yes, we were running mate instead of a candidate. In 2017, we didn't run. In 2022, we didn't run. So those are things we must begin asking ourselves very seriously. That are we running in 2027 or not?
And when you say running, we're talking about just the presidency.
Presidential race.
Yes, the presidency.
Everything else doesn't matter.
No, everything else matters and do. I mean, what I'm saying is that, of course, we've got young people that are going to run.
Okay.
These young people, we need to build their capacity. That is work that already is going on within the party. Those who are running for senatorial position, for MP positions, and other positions. Yes. So these are young people that, of course, we are working very tirelessly to build their capacities, to make sure that they appreciate the environment they are going to interact with. So, I think in a small way, as a party, we are doing our fair share to make sure that we do that which needs to be done.
I think you're in a unique position at this time because, like you said, having been away from the stage, maybe you didn't put it in those words, but okay, having been away from the stage, truly if the interest is to make the country a better place for livelihoods, economy, etc., governance, having been away and then seeing how things have been, I think you're placed in you have a unique opportunity to then be able to deliver the kind of citizen-based governance that we talk about that needs to actually happen, not just in Kenya, but in different countries around the world, whereby you say, okay, well, we can step back in and say, how about this is what we ought to deliver. The leader that people are looking for, that Kenyans are looking for, that they can coalesce around, and that they can demand things of and be accountable, that leader can be accountable to its people. And the question then is, how will you take up that opportunity and insist on it, and not for personal gain or political expediency, but for Kenya?
Again, I think that, Mrs. Sandu, I understand your frustration. But then my position again is this, that the party has given the young people a chance to develop their talent, because it would be meaningless to deploy young people whose capacity you've not built.
Sure.
So what the party is doing at this very moment, young people who can step forward and run for office, that we can have a young person running for the presidency in the next election, can only happen if we develop the capacity of these young people. That is precisely what the party is doing. Yes.
Opportunity, they say, waits for no man or woman for that matter. But when a country is going through the sort of birth pangs that I was going through, politically those are opportunities.
I know.
How is Kanu taking advantage of these opportunities?
Kanu is taking advantage of this opportunity in this sense. One, again, we must appreciate the fact that all politics are local. And you know that chairman, our party, part of our constituency is the pastoralist communities. That being part of our constituency, we think that before we disrupt anything, we give the government a chance to implement its programs for the pastoralist community among other areas. Because we think that when we can improve the lot of the citizens of Kenya, that we don't have to take credit for it. But what is at the very core of Kanu is that we have improved the lot of everyone. So until we are certain that those strategies are not going to work, then we may want to offer alternatives. As at this very moment, I said that we are keen in developing capacities of our young people.
Within the party.
Within the party.
Working in the back room. Kidi, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Kidi Muga is the Secretary for Policy and Legislative Affairs of KANU, the oldest political party. He's been our guest. We've been talking about political party politics in this country from a perspective of KANU. Keep it here for more conversations. It's 9 a.m. Time for the news.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Doctors, clinical officers and laboratory officers are resolved to hold weekly demonstrations to push for the implementation of their grievances. The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers and the Kenya National Union of Medical Laboratory Officers, in a joint statement, said the demonstrations will be held every Tuesday. Today, they will hold demonstrations to the Ministry of Health and Parliament before proceeding to the Council of Governors' offices. The unions have also jointly petitioned the President to establish a working team comprising multi-sectoral agencies to comprehensively address the perennial issues in the health sector for posterity. They have opined that the President, as the leader of the nation, should intervene and provide a solution, considering that the impasse jeopardizes the realization of universal health coverage. This as the doctors' strike continues for the fifth week. Some religious leaders are increasingly calling on President William Ruto to intervene and help end the strike, which has further crippled medical services in public hospital. Speaking in Butoto East Lurambi constituency, Kakamega County, the Bishop of Emusala Church of God, Peter Atola, says it is important that a solution is found, as it is now threatening to destroy the health services in the country. And President William Ruto has replaced Caroline Mwende Mweke as Kenya's nominee for the East African Community Secretary General with Veronica Mweni Nduva. Nduva is the current Principal Secretary for the State Department for Performance and Delivery Management at the Ministry of Public Service. The changes were revealed through a letter dated April 15th and penned by Cabinet Secretary for EAC Penina Malonza. In the letter addressed to Minister for EAC Affairs Chairperson Deng Alorkwal, Malonza said the President had decided to vary the nomination. Mweke had been appointed to replace Peter Mathuki from the post after the country initiated his recalling. Mathuki's recalling was occasioned by his nomination by President Ruto as Kenya's ambassador to Russia. If appointed, Nduva will be the third Kenyan to hold the post after Francis Muthaura, who served from 1996 to 2001, and Mathuki, who served from 2021 to 2024. The fertilizer subsidy program has been grappling with the problem of counterfeit, which the government has been confiscating now. Unscrupulous traders have been exploiting farmers, but Agriculture Principal Secretary Paul Rono has said despite the setback, the use of fertilizer has increased. This has also led to an increase in the 2023 maize harvest. He said this year the government intends to distribute 12.5 million bags, 7.5 million bags for the long rain season and the remaining 5 million bags for the short rainy season. Rono said so far the government has distributed 2.4 million bags of subsidized fertilizer to farmers across the country for the March to April-May planting season. And the government of Kenya will host the African Union's Africa Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit from May 7th to 9th, 2024, according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The summit, which will take place at the KICC Nairobi, will bring together African government officials, policymakers, farmers, organizations and other persons in the private sector. The summit comes at a time when the host, that is Kenya, is faced with controversy over the authenticity of fertilizer provided to farmers under the government subsidy program. On a sad note, and one person has died and two others have been seriously injured after being shot by GSU officers following a dispute over the ownership of Kambiwaya farm between residents and the Agriculture Development Corporation ADC at Endebase in Trans Nzoia County. The injury of the two brings to 5 people who have been injured by shooting. In a period of 10 days now, a resident of Chepchoida Watersmew has called on IPOA to intervene so that the family who lost their loved one is compensated.
Kunaye mwingine ambaye aliweza kufariki mwaka jana, alafu leo wamepiga watu 4 marisasi, akiwemo msichana mmoja, na mmoja ameweza kufariki na mwingine shika kichwa imepasua kabisa, ambapo naye hayuko katika hali nzuri. Ipoa ikaweza kuchukulia hii maneno haraka ili kwamba ikaweza sasa, sababu hii hali bado ingali inaendelea. Kwa hivyo Ipoa ikaweza kukuja at least wale maaskari ambao wako kwa ground wasio tu watu wa kuachilia tu marisasi ovyo ovyo, maana risasi kwa mwili hiyo sio chakula. Kwa hivyo wakaweza kutumia mbinu ambayo mwafaka ili kwamba kama kuna shida kama hiyo wasitumie silaha.
Boeing has defended its safety practices, touting aircraft testing protocols as its guards for a tough congressional hearing featuring critics of the embattled aviation giant. Wednesday's Senate hearing is scheduled to include testimony from Boeing engineer Sam Safer, who went public last week with sweeping charges alleging Boeing's safety practices are deficient and that the company retaliated against him for speaking out. This is News. I'm Dennis Aseta. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, where are we at? Getting into the later parts of the morning. It's still very heavy coming off of James Gishuru in and outbound traffic. So inbound traffic is out towards the Red Hill Link Road. Outbound traffic then is coming in heavy on the Red Hill Link Road, then crossing over Waiyaki Way and then on to James Gishuru. So it's doing that dance this morning, so watch out for that. If you can avoid it at this point, please do so. Ring Road Western's pretty busy as well, and we're still looking at some action on the Thika Superhighway, but it's past Survey now and you're getting towards the Pangani Underpass. That's where you see the most of it. On Kiambu Road, also pretty busy still right about now. Juja Road, some traffic getting into the CBD as well via Ngara, and then also on Landis Road, we're seeing a bumper-to-bumper action all the way through towards Kamkunji at the roundabout. It's busy on Huru Highway, but everything else looks okay. Keep an eye on things and let's check back in about half hour or so. We'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
The only why the Spice FM has not been working for some days now. What does that mean?
Which one? Where he is?
Maybe. Spice FM app.
Oh, the app.
Wafula, we will get that. We'll find out what you mean. We'll find out what you mean, where you get it from. Where have you been getting our audio from? Okay, we'll see what's happening. However, you can catch us on Spice FM on the radio. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on other digital platforms like Radio Garden and so on and so forth. ICEA Lion have said, you know what, for very many years, we in the insurance and the industry have been doing something. We sit down in our boardrooms, we devise programs and products, and we say, now, you go and sell this to the people. Someone comes and tells you, oh, you know, education program, you know, education product. This education product will look at, by the time the child is going to Form 1, so they're in Standard 1 now. By the time they're going to Form 1, that's on the 9th year from today, okay? And that doesn't work for you, for one reason or another.
Yeah.
But then like hii sasa kama unataka hivyo unaweza fanya ya 5 alafu sasa ufanye nyingine 4 and They've realized this thing is not working. We are not addressing the needs of the people. We are addressing our needs and thinking those are the
How
people's
we
needs.
gonna fix it?
Yeah. So how about people come to us and tell us, what's your plan? What is it that you're wishing to do? Education and school fees is not a secondary issue, secondary school issue. It can be a grade 4 issue, grade 5 issue, grade 6, grade 7, secondary, form 1, form 2. It could be a university issue, college, it could be whatever. It could be your own education that you're thinking, okay, I want to go back to school and do one thing or the other. So if it's all about you and what your unique needs are, how about you come, tell us those unique needs that you have, and then let's tailor make a product that works for you. It also looks at your pocket. So at the beginning of last year, this was your income. Now we're in March. In April, this is your income. It has not changed. What has changed though is your net income, because pesa imechukuliwa kidogo. Sijui imeenda wapi, sijui housing levy, sijui NHIF, sijui NSSF, sijui imefanya nini, sijui nini, sijui this and the other. So sijui your amount that was available at the beginning of last year is not the same amount that's available this year. So how do we work out those issues and all your unique circumstances to actually walk the journey towards your dream together? That's why they say, come with your plan, we'll help you sort out your plan. How do they reach out to them?
plan.icealion.co.ke. That's the website. And if you're going to send an email, do so, plan@icealion.co.ke.
Mambo is like that.
Yep.
So the issue of public wage bill is a national conversation. In fact, it's a big one because all government agencies are meeting this week to talk about public wage bill. There's what the Public Finance Management Act says. There's what the chapter in the Constitution says about how we manage our public finances, how much is going to paying salaries. A lot of money. Of all the money that we collect, every 100 shillings of tax collected by KRA in this country, 47 bob is paying salaries. Can you imagine?
From 100 shillings.
Every 100 bob, 47 bob.
47 is paying salaries.
It's paying salaries.
Yes. It's supposed to be around 35.
The law has said, please don't go beyond 35. Don't go beyond 30. Even that 35, kama unaweza catch below 35, even better. We're at 47. How do we reduce this? We have an HR expert with us now in the studio. Arnold Ochieng is the general manager for an organization called Workforce Africa. Good morning, Arnold.
Morning, how are you?
Very well. Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana. Listen to this man called City Muga. He's going to give you a proverb. He'll tell you where the proverb is from this time. He'll give you one or two tidbits about the country, and then he'll give you the proverb. And then your job in this interview is to answer the question. Your interpretation of the proverb will be question number 1A. ICT. Go. Which African country are we in this week?
We are in Cape Verde. Cabo Verde in Portuguese.
Yes.
In the previous hour, you had asked about the political parties.
Yes.
Well, it has two very dominant parties. Okay? It's interesting. One is called MPD. The other one is called PAICV. MPD is Movement for Democracy. That's really what it's called. And the PAICV is African Party for the Independence of Cape Verde.
Okay.
But in total, there are 7 political parties within that country. But these two are dominant. And the domination is actually what makes for the stability of this particular country.
Right.
One is a centrist party, one is a social democratic leaning party. So again, that is the balance.
Okay.
Right. The proverb. The dog's happy dream produces no meat.
The dog's happy dream produces no meat.
Yes.
Arnold, how do you interpret this proverb?
So the dog's happy dream produces no meat.
Yes.
Wow. That's a tricky one. So basically, for a dog, they normally, if they're sleeping, I don't think they'll be able to get the meat. So ideally, if they're sleeping, then they're just dreaming about the bone that they're thinking about. But ideally, they have no meat, so which means it's a hungry dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's a lesson to draw from this?
Probably, I'd say that in every activity or in every situation that you're trying to come up with, don't be a dreamer, but act on it. Yeah.
Don't just dream, huh?
Yeah.
Get up and act. You know, one day, Annie. One day, you wait.
Don't worry.
One day, these things will work. One day, for example, we'll be able to contain our wage bill in this country. First of all, do you think 47% of our ordinary revenue going to paying salaries is a bad thing?
In my opinion, that it might be a concern in terms of trying to manage things. And given that we are an economy that we are just trying to keep up with the changing macroeconomics and the outside our boundaries and outside our territory, then I think it's prudent that we try and put policies that are able to ensure that we are still able to support the current workforce that we are currently working with in the same breath, and still maintaining the organizational support and running various businesses. Yeah.
But then let's look at it in reality. How did we get here? We've gotten here because everybody wants to work for government, right? Many people. How you judge a politician? Huyu mtu hata kuna mtu mmoja ameingiza kwa kazi. Right? That's how we judge our politicians. That's how we tell our politicians, okay, sasa wewe, in your time in office, how many people? You were Minister for Education. How many teachers from this village did you employ?
Yes.
You were minister in whatever. How many people got into police, got into jeshi, got into government? So it's like everybody is basically looking at opportunity and to work in government, right? Yes. And this is one area. Then the second area we also look at, when you are working in government, you are formally employed. And one of the areas where the government is able to easily get its tax revenues from is from the formally employed people. If you talk about all the avenues of taxes. So everybody working for government is everybody paying tax.
Well, the history of this country, if you look at the evolution of our politics, from a time when, the transition period from independence, when Africans actually now started getting into positions that had previously been held either by the representatives of the colonizers and others, it became imperative, and in fact a sign of success, as you say, correct, was to work for the government. And working for the government meant you had a permanent and pensionable position. Meaning you could almost die on the job. Okay? There was a time even when you retired, you were permitted to actually bring in a child of yours to either not take over, but they could easily be employed even as you left. Yes. Now, the politicians then made their mark by the number of opportunities they provided for the people within their constituencies and the opportunities that was open to them. Whether it was in the military, whether it was in the ministries that they headed. In fact, the legacy has to do with, if you look at certain ministries and if you look at certain state departments, the dominant community that you find there, historically you will find that at some point there was somebody from that community who headed that particular department or that ministry. And as a result of that, a lot of people who were employed because they came from that person's backyard. Why? That's how you're measured. Your leadership was measured by the opportunities that you provided for your people. That is how it was measured. Yes.
Do we see that now? And if we see that now, opportunities being provided for your people, and that is now established and working for government, then is it justified to have the majority of quite a large percentage of revenue that comes into the country then goes towards paying those salaries? Is it justified today?
Ideally, I believe everyone is essentially working for the government, whether directly or indirectly, because at the end of the day, we all contribute to the taxation pool that is currently set up by the Kenyan government. However, it's prudent for each stakeholder that is relevant in the market space or relevant in the economy to play a key role in ensuring that we are able to provide opportunities to each and every Kenyan in terms of how do we ensure that there is a skill development, and how do we ensure that everyone gets an opportunity to be upskilled in whatever they're trying to do. So essentially, in terms of putting everything that is supposed to go, that is collected towards the salaries, it's kind of essential that there has to be proper measures around it, so that it's not a burden to the people paying their taxes.
Right.
However, it's also a balance in terms of how we compensating the relevant workforce that are putting in the work and are trying to also survive in the economy that we currently live in. So there has to be a balance in either collecting both the taxes, but also trying also to ensure that the workforce that you have is well compensated and well taken care of. Yeah.
If we also look at the other side of this coin, right? From an employee perspective, you have an income, and this income, just like I started by saying earlier, the income in January 2023, in terms of figure, the number written on your payslip, and the number written on your payslip as gross salary in April 2024, same. The number written there as net pay is not the same. It has reduced. There are things that are changing, right? And this is because, of course, higher taxation and all. And then you have also committed this income into several other things, for example, loan. And then the bank has also written to you recently and told you, oh, by the way, because of prevailing circumstances, CBR rate and all this and the other, we are also now changing the interest rate to the facility that you have with us. So we expect that you are paying X amount of money for your loan, for your mortgage. We expect you to be paying us X amount of money in the next 2 months. So your money is going. And you are working for private, public sector, wherever you're working, your money is going. How do you navigate this? How do you navigate this? Do you tell a bank, by the way, wacheni ujinga? Or do you write to your employer and say, look,
and I borrowed in Kenya shillings, not dollars. So what you could chase
mimi sijali. What do you do?
So as an employee, you need to understand that at times the dynamics change. And I agree with the fact that even in from 2020, even as late as November, the salary that the net pay that you had in November 23 and what you got in the last pay was in March 24. Definitely, there's a significant change, right? And it's also prudent to understand that with the changing dynamics in the economic sector, employers also are obliged to try and adjust in certain areas that they're able to compensate and reward the employees. Because remember, we as employers or we as employees, we thrive in taking part in performance reviews, and the reason why we do these performance reviews is for employers to be able to see the contribution we are bringing forward to the organization. So, and in this light, we're able to see how the employer is able to also reward. So in such situations where you find that the employer is also struggling to match that, there are various certain other aspects that they're able to come in and support the employee with the drastic changes in the economic and and financial sector wise. So you're able to put in measures like what if there are things that I'm able as an employer to put in place to kind of cushion these employee from the changing of the adverse changes in the taxation. So what can I put in place that they are still comfortable contributing? They're still contributing to the organization in terms of their skills, but they are also in a way that you're also trying to cushion them and making them feel much comfortable in whatever they're doing, rather than trying just not to not contribute or offer any form of cushion for them to be able to be comfortable, because you as an employee, you need your workforce to be at optimum level for you to be able to achieve your organizational goals.
But remember, as an employer, I'm also facing added costs.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm also paying more. When you increase NHIF, I'm also required to pay more for your NHIF and all those things. So why is it only me to cushion? Let everybody cushion themselves.
But ideally,
I'm an employer. I'm running costs. The just cost of this business is going up.
True.
From everything else. If I'm a manufacturer, cost of power has gone up, cost of inputs has gone up, cost of doing business has gone up, but then I'm also not raising the price of the product we are selling or service that we are selling. So the revenues are still remaining the same. Costs are going up, but you want me to start cushioning my employees because their life is getting harder. Life for all of us is getting harder. In fact, the easier thing for me to do is just reduce the number of employees so I can continue having an easier life.
Isn't that a reality of what we're seeing today?
That's what happened.
Just from conversations that we're having today, that somebody who had a workforce of 20 people, and then now the burden on them to have to pay more because of the tax requirements, they'll say, okay, well, you know what? We can pay more and this business goes into the ground, or I can reduce the workforce by 50%. And so then I can pay this for 10 people as opposed to struggling to do it for 20. That's the reality on the ground, because we can talk about where we want to be, but we can talk about where we can be today. So how do you create that balance? I think oftentimes we look at the employee, which we should. But what about the employer and the hoops that they need to jump through to then be compliant? What do they need to do?
True. It's quite unfortunate, the situation that business have been forced to be in. Actually, in the past 6 months or so, we've heard of businesses shutting down, some reducing their workforce, which is quite unfortunate. However, in trying to cope up with the demands from both the legislative side in terms of being compliant, and also trying also to manage the business in terms of business operations, and also on the other hand trying to keep your workforce, I think businesses have to put in measures in that are going to be able to support both aspects. When now we're looking at cost of running businesses that have increased, which is no doubt in the past 24 months or so, the cost of the running business have risen or have doubled, unlike in the past. However, for employers, there are certain measures that they need to put in place. For example, there are certain costs that I believe, if they're able to be kind of replaced and they're able to be kind of done away with, they're able to save in terms of returning the jobs. There are certain areas in terms of how many roles you're having in the office, how many roles you're having in an organization. There are certain roles that can double up in getting in running the organization. In terms of business costs and operations, there are certain costs around space, office space. Those are certain costs. Right now we are living in a world that we never thought we'd live in terms of the hybrid working environment. I have a friend of mine who, ideally for them, they have the option of working completely remotely. In fact, they're not allowed to go to the office. That's kind of a flexible kind of working environment that allows the employer to reduce on certain costs. So there's the costs that the employer would have channeled towards probably the office space. They can be channeled towards something else, like retaining the employees, and also just added an incentive in terms of if they're working remotely, can I get them extra allowance for probably internet or something like that. So definitely, I think in as much as we are struggling in this economic kind of situation, the landscape in terms of how employers can also adjust to ensuring that they still retain the talent and they still try and operate, they can still have that balance. Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I've always found interesting with regards to the demands that employees have for more pay is, yes, numerically, the shillings may be more, but do they buy you more? Those who study economics tell us that one of the things about having money that is chasing after goods that are not that many, what then happens is that the price of those commodities just keep going up. Okay? Now, is our problem one of low salaries so that people can be given more money, or is it that we have an economy that doesn't enable us to live within our means? I'm using my words carefully here for this very reason. Do we produce, for instance, enough to be able to sustain the people who live in this country locally? And if we do we produce it in abundance so that it can be cost effective? And if not, what is it that the government is doing so that that can actually happen? Because it would be a good situation where if you said, for instance, someone doesn't quite have the money, but they have the food. But here is a situation where you may not have the money, but you may also not have the food. Because the food that's available is beyond your reach in terms of your buying power or in terms of whatever it is you have available. So it's like there's this vicious cycle that every time we get to May, you have Labor Day and clockwork. There'll be an increase of some 15%. The minimum pay or the minimum wage will be moved upwards. But does it reflect directly on the quality of life that somebody is going to live simply because that hike has been given?
Ideally, the money, for example, I'll give an example of my father was a civil servant. So he used to tell us that his first salary was 1,500 shillings back then. I don't know. At that point, it sounded very crazy to me that how would you be living on 1,500 and you have a family and you take your brothers and sisters to school also. Ideally, at that time, probably the economies of scale at that time are quite different from what we have right now in terms of the changes in the economic landscape. Based on my economic knowledge, Kenya's ideally we import more than we export. So generally, what our macroeconomics really affect in terms of the cost of living that we have currently, we don't have. I wouldn't say we don't have, but whatever we export out, I don't think balances whatever we import in. So generally, whatever we are purchasing, our purchasing power is dependent on what the macroeconomics outside really dictate. So ideally, even if the salary that your employer gives you is reviewed every year, still with the changes in dynamics in economics, ideally the spending power will still increase in terms of what is the current what do you purchase on a normal day, because the price of probably what you used to buy in December right now at this point is not the same thing. So the salary might change, but it might remain the same. However, but the other bits around the economies have changed. So definitely, in terms of all of this, probably the government can put now probably measures around how do we balance that to ensure that even if our salaries do not change, the cost of living still kind of balances it out. Yeah.
Let's take a break at 26 minutes to 10. Stephen says, I have 2 employees. There are no more costs that I can reduce. In the last year, the cost of operation has doubled due to the rise in energy. The revenues did not increase. My only option is, you see one of these 2 employees, one of them has got to go if I am to cut costs. So this is a reality for employers. This is a reality for the employees. One of them has to go. Or both of them agree, let's take a pay cut. Or one of them agrees, let's reduce, let's keep the employers' costs, retain the employers' costs by taking a pay cut. What are these options that we have to deal with and to contend with? This conversation continues shortly with Arnold Ochieng, who is the GM of Workforce Africa. We are looking at wage bill, both in public and private sector. What's happening in the economy? Private sector has already said very many of us have actually reduced our workforce. The government is saying we have got to find ways of managing this ballooning wage bill. Where are the options for employees?
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
You tune into Kenya's biggest conversation. My name is Ramanya.
Amen. Amen.
So 1 hour is over?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It gets over.
Can you imagine
in 20 minutes.
What the big boys have also done?
I'm very proud of myself. When you understand about partnership in politics, it's like the way marriage is these days. When you're looking for a wife, you're like, oh, maybe you can help me pay for fees as I pay for the rent.
Or should you have a lioness living in your bedroom? I have to tell you a story. I went for a prayer meeting, which was called for the spouses of candidates for senators and governors. And when I got to the gate, the lady who was the secretary, she refused to. She's telling me, no. Leo tunataka wa mama. Leo ni wa mama. I'm telling her, no. She said, no, sio siku yenu. And I thought, there's a problem here, because if it was a man, but this was a lady.
It will be called First Ladies until you change the name.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
A sunny morning in Nairobi, 19 degrees, highs of 25, and we'll see lows of 16. Sunny at 21 in Nakuru, highs of 27 and lows of 15, and mostly cloudy. At 21 in Nyeri with highs of 27, we'll see lows of 17. Looking into a sunny Eldoret at 19, highs of 26 and lows of 14, while into Mombasa, it's cloudy at 29 with highs of 31 and lows of 25. Malindi is cloudy at 29, highs of 31 and lows of 26, and we're looking into sunny Kisumu at 24 with highs of 29 and lows of 20. It's sunny at 23 in Kakamega with highs of 29 and lows of 17. Cloudy in Kampala at 23 with highs of 28, and Dar es Salaam is sunny at 25 with highs of 29 and lows of 24. And we're looking into a partly sunny Johannesburg at 13 with highs of 20 and lows of 11. Mogadishu is sunny at 32, highs of 34, while at 20 degrees it's cloudy in Addis Ababa with highs of 26. Lagos is cloudy at 29, highs of 33, and into Kinshasa it's cloudy at 24 with highs of 33. 26 in Beijing this afternoon at 26 with highs of 14. We'll see lows of 6 in Paris, and with highs of 13 we'll see lows of 6 in London. We'll round things out in New York. The Big Apple is clear Monday night at 12. Coming into Tuesday, highs of 22 and lows of 9.
To SpiceFM, the best exclusive radio station bringing you the best mix of the best music ever.
If you go out of this country and come back the same person, then you have a problem. Buy land, 1 million. Put it there for 5 years. What's the purpose?
It'll have increased in value.
No, that's the thing. That's darkness. That's an eclipse. You don't do that.
I hope you don't believe that a hustler is a poor person, or that all hustlers are poor. I've seen that conversation.
Tell us, who is a hustler?
So who's a hustler? Hustler is a person who is making a living through hard work.
Corruption in Kenya is a political accusation. The people who are actually corrupt are not pointed fingers at.
Kenya is not free. Kenya imeshikwa na mateka. It's under siege.
Have you seen that lodge on Nyeri Road? Very high fence. You can't even
Windows
sleep inside.
up near the ceiling.
Yes. And if you walk that midnight, you see bats the size of cows.
And when it rains, it doesn't rain on that building.
Yes.
When you're at All Saints and it's raining, it doesn't rain on that building. Okay, still busy with
things people will be
parts, that is. Whatever's happening on James Gishoro seems just a little bit of that left as you cross over towards the Red Hill Link Road. And also that drama happening coming off Enterprise and then going out towards the city just a little bit at the junctions, but we're all right from there. Landis Road, bits and bobs as you get towards the Kamkunji roundabout. And let's see, coming off of Muranga Road towards the Globe Cinema roundabout, overpass, that's also still doing the thing. James Gishoro, much better now. Ring Road Westlands, still some traffic. We're just going to keep an eye on things here and there as we go along. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room through the day.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Workforce Africa on, the options that are there for all of us as a country. Option number one, for example, the government agencies are meeting and in a meeting organized by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to discuss the public wage bill. 47% of ordinary revenue is going into paying public wage bill. And yet the law says do not go above 35%. When we hosted the chairperson of SRC here, she said, look, our biggest option is to increase revenue. So that if you increase revenue, then this percentage will come down, right? If you increase revenue, even if you retain the same number, then the percentage just keeps coming down. The other one is now then reduce the number of staff.
Right.
Look at areas where you don't need staff and reduce. Are any of these two even viable? No.
Reduce the number of staff? One would argue that the number of staff in the country, whether working in public service or otherwise, are not even enough. That's what they would say. But then we also have the whole ghost worker experience. So one would also ask, so these ghosts, boo, where are they?
Even the ghosts are not enough.
Even the ghosts are not enough to fill up those spaces. So there's an argument that will be placed for, we don't even have enough, so where would you reduce? Who would you say is not needed in that position? How would you comb through and say
we need more teachers?
Absolutely, we need more doctors,
we need more health workers,
we need more policemen and women.
Yes.
Yeah. So where would you say that there is a gap that is not being filled, that we can say, okay, actually, you know what, in order for us to save and reduce on this percentage, let's cut out some stuff from here. Where are you going to do that?
Yeah, you can look at it and ask yourself, so are there jobs that have too many people for a position in one organization? You find one organization where there's a communications person for the CEO's office, there's or director's office, there's a communication person for the minister's office, communication person for the PS's office, communication person for the ministry itself.
Yes.
It's a duplication of roles.
Yes, like
no, it's not a duplication.
I remember it's because
is it necessary to have each of them?
It's necessary to have those people.
In
I
fact,
joke because
2 of each is ideal. Yes.
Oh really? I joke because I just remember that I saw this video the other day of Nigeria's president Bola Tinubu. The guy
for opening the door
has a guy who opens his door.
That's the spirit.
So, I mean, just as an example, do we need all?
Yes, we do.
Do we need all of these people?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Like for real, City?
Not for real.
Okay, explain.
I'm not being facetious.
Explain.
We do. You see, until we get out of this la-la land where we think that you have reached the zenith of life when you are employed or in employment, okay? Or when it is that we understand that doing business doesn't mean pilfering from the government as much as you possibly can. When we understand that to grow the economy, it means that people must be given access to financing so that they can go about doing their businesses. Until we understand that growing the economy isn't talking about figures, the only avenue through which people can actually earn a living is through being employed. It's not complicated.
And the safest employer is government.
Government, because if, for instance, this Kenya is an agricultural country story that we keep hearing about. Okay?
It's actually true.
If it's actually true, then we wouldn't be having this discussion for the simple reason that people would be involved in farming. There'd be more than enough food. Food would be affordable. But again, these things are not true. Food is not affordable in this country. Okay?
So you don't think agriculture is the biggest employer in Kenya?
Agriculture, no. The bulk of the people who live in this country are in the rural areas. But
are they employed?
Yes, I mean, that's the thing. And this subsistence farming that they are involved in, can it even feed them? There was a time it could. It could feed them, and it could even feed their relatives who lived in the urban areas. But is that the case right now? So, the avenue that is opened to people is to seek employment. Now, once we had county governments, then it became even more apparent that that is the only way out. Because ask yourself, in all these major towns that we have that were former provincial headquarters, what businesses do you see there? Do you see industry? Do you see very serious economic activities?
No.
Yes. And if there were, those would be the catalytic situations where employment could be found, isn't it? But if you don't see them, so where do you think this employment is going to come from?
It's a good question.
So you're being facetious after all?
No. The avenue that is open is to be employed by government, because there it's limitless. You can employ as many people as you like.
Even ghosts.
Yes.
But so should we be asking the question then, that should you then reduce the trimmings that come for these individuals who work in government?
Trimmings like what, for instance?
You want to have a meeting. The four of us, we sit in this meeting. But in order for us to have a meeting, we need to leave Nairobi.
Go to Naivasha.
I go to Naivasha. We all sit here.
I don't know why people haven't figured this out. You actually can't meet and discuss serious things if you're not in Naivasha or Mombasa.
Oh, okay.
It's
so
not
we
possible.
must travel. We must travel outside of the
At least
office
start with Mavoko.
Yes, and then in Naivasha you just drive.
Yeah.
Because the expense now is if you fly, isn't it?
That's where it becomes really expensive.
Because when you fly, then your driver has to drive also to meet you there.
Yeah.
As though the place you're going to doesn't have vehicles.
No.
Okay? So, look, we have a culture that we talk about changing, but we are really unwilling to change.
We are not ready to do this.
No, we are unwilling to change it. Absolutely unwilling to change it.
You're saying even now as we talk about, rationalizing stuff and all, because remember what Lynn Mengich told us here.
Yes.
We need to employ more doctors. All right? There's a global standard and there's just even looking at the need. We need more doctors. We need more doctors. We need more specialist doctors in various cadres. We need more nurses. We need more specialist nurses. We need clinical officers. We need our health facilities to have human beings that you'll find and meet and they'll work for you. You need teachers. We are seeing our population growing. We need more teachers to teach our children. So we need these ones. We need security. We need more police officers. Sawa. So for us, if we are to go there, then let's look at what don't we need more of?
Clerical officers.
Right? So, we still have typists in offices.
Yeah. The thing is...
Typist.
Wow.
Yeah, we do. Copy typist.
Wow.
Okay, then secretary.
And secretary.
Yes, and then secretary has also Mkono, who helps them. I don't know whether it's pushing paper into the printing machine or whatever it is. Then you have cleaner messenger. Okay, then you have tea person. Okay. Now,
and the tea person for the boss's office is not tea person.
No,
it's
not the general.
You are the one who's are served by somebody else.
Yes, you are.
Then there's the one for boss.
And it's known. Yes. So all I'm saying is we have this culture that we are not willing to let go of. It's not complicated. So even the issue of employment is not the issue. The issue of wanting to actually tackle this problem head on beyond talking about it, that impetus, it isn't there. The energy is in just talking about it and saying we know we should, and then we know we should, and then the Auditor General comes and tells us just, this goes to work, I think is actually real, because there are people who are supposed to be employed but they don't actually exist. And we'll talk about it, and that's it. And then again, the next year, the Auditor General will talk about it, and that's it. Have you heard of a situation where people are actually laid off? And when they're laid off, for how long? Because you think it's permanent. They're laid off and then they're brought back in. There's a department in the county governments. It used to exist in the municipalities. It's called environment. Okay? Environment is where all the political leaders have their people employed. Essentially, the people are supposed to sweep the streets, cut grass, all manner of things, that sort of thing. Okay. Now, there's no limit how many people you can employ in an environment. Or if somebody happens to be in a ministry and they're not doing very well there, or they're challenged, or they are given a task that is beyond their capacities, environment.
And this is why we also have ghost workers.
Now,
they also fall into that.
Ghost workers are important because in the absence of ghost workers, how exactly will we retain the work of the Auditor General? Because the Auditor General will have no work.
You are on a long thing. Yes. I know. Do you think it's actually possible? Do you think it's actually possible then to bring this number down from 47%? If a lot of these issues, because again, we laugh about them, but there are lots of issues here that are clear that can actually be worked on. Can we bring that number down from 47% and just say, you know what, guys, even this meeting that you're having here along Thika Road this week, if you just did 1, 2, 3, we will probably be able to find easy solutions to bringing this number down. Is it possible?
Ideally, I'm not really a government expert per se. However, I believe in structured kind of governance and in structured kind of operations, right? Definitely, if we are talking about the wage bill, then there's a reason why we have that conversation right now. And now, what the key question shouldn't be in terms of increasing the revenue, because if you are going to increase the revenue, it means there are going to be adverse effects. There's going to be a ripple effect that flows out through the whole country, which might not be quite beneficial to employees and themselves. So ideally, there needs to be proper structures put in place in terms of how do we ensure that we're able to maintain some of these costs. Some of these costs, like you've mentioned, you've joked about the going to Mavoko or going to Naivasha thing. I believe there are some kind of measures that can be put in place in a way that can be able to govern certain kind of expenditure that we have in terms of kind of also maintaining all this.
Like what? Like you say, what's it called? Daily sustenance allowance, right? When you go to this Mavoko place, and that's what you're looking for. You're just looking for per diem. It's an extra way of earning some cash, on top of your salary. Are you saying we should remove all those benefits?
I'm just
because
saying,
this has been an attempt.
Yeah.
SRC has come in and said, all right, so let's look at some of these benefits. So, okay, you are a lawyer. You studied law. You went to Kenya School of Law. You were admitted to the bar. The government was looking for a lawyer to employ. You got employed by the government as a lawyer. You work for government as a lawyer. We do not expect you to go representing other people in criminal in court. You work for government. Lawyers say, now for that, so you give me a non-practicing allowance. Because I studied as a lawyer and I'm not practicing as a lawyer out there, I'm working for you, give me a non-practicing. SRC was like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
You're practicing in government as a lawyer.
And you're being paid a salary.
Push back, my friend. Big one. Big time. And so on and so forth. I think we should actually just say, yeah, you have been employed to work for government as a lawyer, as an architect, as an engineer. We don't expect that you're now also engineering in government and engineering your own things out there. Work here. We are not giving you any non-practicing allowance. You want to practice, leave work and go and practice. Scrap them?
Ideally, I would look at it in a way that, first of all, how are these let's say organization structured, because it all boils down to an organizational structure, and a proper organizational structure dictates how and what should be done for each kind of role in terms of what they're supposed to be doing and what they're supposed to be contributing to the relevant sector. If it's the parastatal, then there has to be a proper organization structure around it. And then with the organizational structure, they're able to come up with reasonable remuneration benefits that are commensurate to whatever they're trying to achieve. So ideally, it should be balanced. Yeah.
So do you see a sense in which we can actually get to balance these things? You're saying we are unwilling to move away from this culture.
Yes.
What would make us move away from this culture?
I actually think if you really want to understand what we're discussing, don't reduce, employ more people. Let's get around 60%.
So that, no, what are you trying to say? Force a situation whereby you're able, as in, okay, how bad can it get? Let's let it get.
You've understood exactly what I'm doing with this, because it's not crazy.
And then
these are Kenyans who are being employed and being paid by taxpayers' money, which they also will contribute to if they are employed. Look, it's the principle of if you want to eat a frog, look for a fat one. Sindio? Okay. I don't. This discussion of you want to reduce, waste of time. Just employ people. Okay. If you find you have no money for development, so be it. You don't have money for development, but you've developed homes. You've made people. You've given people money. What's the problem? Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Then when there are no roads, you'll understand why you don't have roads.
You ate the road.
Exactly. And if you don't have money to buy commodities in hospital, at least you'll say you employed doctors. Okay?
And they are working.
And they're working and they can look at each other because there are no commodities. All I'm trying to say is this, look, we have a situation that speaks to a need that we have. And reducing the numbers doesn't address the problem. Why do we have this situation where we all seek to find employment within government, or that is the aspiration? What is it? And that you'll have people in various ministries talking about how innovative we are, how we are creative, and we're creating all manner of things. All good and well, I hear those stories, but do we create enough opportunities so that all these people who need to be employed and who've been trained and who've gone to school can actually find an avenue to express themselves and to be able to not necessarily a living from these things? No. So in the absence of that, keep employing by all means. Please.
Okay.
Let it go on.
Yes, employ. This thing of pretending that we're going to be employ. Okay? If you have a problem, just bring more desks, more chairs, employ. We see it in our schools, okay? You have a classroom of 100 people and the classroom was meant for 40 people. Yeah. So you wonder, when you want to move, what do? You climb on desks as you walk out of the door, okay? The situation in our schools is a complete replica of what it is that we are seeing. It's just that we do not understand how it is with the huge budget the government has for education, something as simple as ensuring that there are enough classrooms to accommodate the students who need to use them. A classroom. This is not a fancy building.
No. Basic.
Yes.
Basic.
So, if that is something that we can't seem to understand or we can't seem to implement, and yet we say we set money aside for it, then, if we then have crowded government offices, okay? When you go to a government office, then you'll be spoiled for choice. Who do you actually speak to? Because there are around 4 people who can do the same thing.
Sitting around actually doing nothing.
Doing nothing. So, the point is, the seriousness of the situation hasn't hit home yet. And until it does, there'll be no change.
That's it.
It's really
we get to that point.
Yes.
Get to the point where really it becomes clear. You don't even have to be asked and told that can we send some people home?
You'll just do it yourself.
You will realize, you will know.
People will be saying, let me go home.
Yeah,
yes.
It will be inevitable. You get to the point where you say, actually, you know what, I'm not going to be in this anymore.
Yes.
And actually people will then leave on their own. So it's actually possible to trim away the fat. It's actually possible to bring those numbers down if the desire is there.
And the alternatives that ought to be there are actually present. Do you really think that if somebody understood that there was a viable option to do something on their own, they'd be clamoring for a government job?
No.
It's the option that you have. That is the viable option that you have. At least it gives you stability. Yes.
So it's indicative.
Yes.
Arnold, do you think it's possible?
Yeah, I agree with him.
You agree?
Yeah.
You see the signs?
Yeah.
Arnold, we thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for all your contributions. Good insights into HR and HR business. Arnold Ochieng is the General Manager of Workforce Africa. He's been our guest this morning. We'll be talking about public wage bill on the one hand, private wage bill on the other. Basically, the cost of sustaining a workforce, whether in public or in private, and what needs to happen. And also looking at you as an employee, what else do you do? What are your alternatives and options? Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation today, this Tuesday. Tomorrow, Wednesday. Natembeya is coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
He said he's coming. Natembeya atatembea hapa kesho in the mornings, and we'll be here. But I will not be here myself. I'll be attending, and nitakuwa nimeenda kutembea kidogo.
Wewe pia utakuwa umeenda matembezini mahali pengine.
Yes. 10 a.m. Have a lovely day.